Let's go ahead and stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Put your right hand over your heart. If you're military, you can salute even if you're not in uniform. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead and take roll call now. Anthony? Okay, great. Thanks.
North Region, Vivo Pacheco. North Region, Tom Williams. We have North Region, Augie Rodriguez.
He's on his way. But he's at Sereno.
South Region, Cynthia Sandoval. South, Manuel Chacon. South, Jerry Troy Carvajal.
Here.
It indicates west here, but I believe I'm feeling the north.
Oh, is it? Sorry, that's
So,
fine.
Anthony Manzal on here. West, Victor Ayala. Here. East, Yoli Garcia. East, Gamaliel Andrade. East, Michelle Corzantes.
Here.
At large, Ruben Chavez.
Presente.
At large, Angelica Duarte. At large, Marlene Fonseca.
Here.
We have 8 members, there's quorum.
Thank you. With 8 members in quorum, this meeting is officially called to order at 6:05 p.m. on January 6, 2016. And Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President.
Okay, so we'll move on to general public comment. I have 1 speaker card. If there's anybody else, you can, okay, thank you. Mr. Sanchez. And you'll have 2 minutes to speak. Is somebody doing the timer?
Right. Are you ready to use that phone? Is it back?
Yeah. Okay, got it? Yeah. Started? Get started? You want to raise it up? Wait, I guess that's to the podium. Yes.
Any more speaker cards?
Mr. Chavez, can you please sit down?
So thank you for your voluntary and continued service in this community. This is an invitation to partner with local businesses, local schools, your stakeholders, and the community beacon to provide a free multilingual resources to your stakeholders and to promote LA 32 to most members of this community. The proposal is for 6 issues, $900 per issue, plus $960 for 1 color issue. Total is $5,460. $800 to distribute to 30,000 households, which is at cost. $100 to distribute at least 13,000 copies to LA32's NC's page. That's less than at cost. So we'll be partnering with you. With this proposal, you will strengthen this community by respecting the views of more stakeholders that represent, that have made 54 public comments in support of this issue, more than any other issue last year, and not a single comment in opposition. 200 signatories on a petition, and we intentionally got 200 signatures to show you we have that capacity. You'd be promoting empowerment of our stakeholders with information in 2 languages. You'd be supporting voluntarily produced local stories written and edited by local stakeholders, the people you represent. You'd be making an effort to promote local businesses that compete with chain stores and corporations of Alhambra and street vendors. On the back, this is a copy of an email I sent to the neighbor councils that actually do partner with us, and I offered them free space in the beacon and in the page for the things in the bottom. And these are suggestions I made to them. Reports on motions and discussions at the general meeting, reports and update on the budget, reports from the committee chairs, profiles of board members. These are all things I've given you 2 years ago. I hope that someone can make a motion And someone can second it, and you can put it on the agenda for February.
I would prefer to either send this to membership and outreach, who might not have a chair at this point. I don't see Galileo
They
here.
went to the membership and outreach committee, they didn't want.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking. Thank you. Or the executive committee can hear it on our next meeting. We'll make sure to agendize it. We'll see if we appoint a chair for membership and outreach. Thank you. Mr. Cabrera?
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, members of the audience and community. A couple announcements I just wanted to make. Number one, the community weekend, the deadline to put your stories in will be a week from this Friday on January 15th. If you'd like to post any stories for the post-holiday events that we had here in El Sereno, such as the tree lighting ceremony, you're welcome to share it. And also post pictures on there. And this is our last issue that we had. This is our January issue. Our next issue will be released on January 25th. That will be 1 week prior to the February issue. That will be considered our February-March issue. My next announcement is also very important to the community. I brought this up to the Executive Board Committee last week. There is a very important parks meeting that's going to be taking place a week from this Thursday on January 14th at 7 p.m. at Lincoln Park. They're recommending the neighborhood councils to attend this meeting to discuss needs here in El Sereno, in the communities of Boyle Heights, Lincoln Heights, and Montecito Heights. And I have flyers for everyone this evening. And I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Mr. Zulsarani.
Good evening, everyone, board members and members of the community. I'm Zul Sarani with USC's Health Sciences Campus Community Partnerships Office, and I wanted to make 3 announcements real quickly. One is that we're beginning to do construction on Alcazar Street between Soto and San Pablo Street. It's a small stretch, and that's going to start as soon as the rains stop in January and will end in March. And then it'll switch to the other side. It's going to be on the south side, and then it's going to switch to the north side of Alcazar. And we're sending all the details by emails to be posted on your website. USC's Good Neighbors Grants Program, which provides $1.7 million in funding for community-based programs, has announced its next cycle, and the proposals are due on Tuesday, February 16th. There is a session on the Health Sciences campus on the 12th. And I have information here. It's in the back table. If you'd like, you can pick it up. And the third announcement is that we're organizing an update on developments that are taking place around our health sciences campus and around it. In particular, we're doing a presentation on the proposed biotech park. This is going to be held on Wednesday, January 13th, next Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Lincoln Heights Senior Center. And I have flyers that are out there, and the presentation is going to be in English and Spanish. We're going to be doing a bunch of presentations on this specific topic throughout the area, Lincoln Heights, Boyle Heights, El Sereno. So if you missed this one, you please look at our website. You'll know about the next few ones that are coming up. Thank you.
Thank you. That's 2 minutes. Is there anybody else who can make public comment? Okay, we're going to move on. Oh, I'm sorry. So for the 112 session, what time is that at?
You mean, the Good Neighbors Grants?
Yes.
It's at 3 p.m.
Okay, moving on to item number 5 is scheduled announcements. Okay, I don't believe we have anybody here for the speaker series, which would be any public or private entities conducting business in our area. I got no notifications from any, and I don't see anybody here. Yeah, that's next. 5B is public safety, which includes LAFD and LAPD reports. I do see LAFD present, and thank you for coming, and you'll have 5 minutes to provide us an update.
Thank you all, and good evening, happy New Year to you all. I'm David Perez, I'm the Battalion Chief in charge of Battalion 2, which is all of this area all the way up to Eagle Rock, LaSalle Park, and Highland Park. Just an update on what we've been going through. As you know, the big story is El Nino and rains and that kind of stuff. In our area, the Battalion 2 area, we've given out over 12,000 sandbags in the last week, and distributed probably, I want to say it's about 60 tons of sand that are through. We have two fire stations that carry sand. One is 47s, now Sereno, the other in Cypress Park 44s. They've been distributing the sand. Also 42s, which is up in the Eagle Rock area, right at the Eagle Rock City Hall. That not the station, but the Eagle Rock City Hall right next door has sand as well. In this area, the area covered essentially by NC-32, you're looking at about 4,000 sandbags and 20 tons of sand. So the people have definitely been taking advantage of it. As soon as the public works dump trucks drop the sand off, people descend on the fire station and the sand is gone. So we've been double ordering, but even with that, it's been very difficult to keep up with the sand orders. No significant incidents. A small mudslide today over on via Marisol, over near the freeway, right across from the entrance to the dog park. Other than that, it's been all pretty minor stuff. Looks like street services and sanitation are doing an outstanding job of keeping the storm drains as clean as they can. We've had no issues with urban flooding. We've had, in our area, we did have the collapse of the roof at the El Pollo Loco Lincoln Park today. And that's actually a common problem when we get these heavy rains, because what happens is the roof drains don't get cleaned out, and so water backs up on the roof until the roof just can't hold it anymore. And that's what happened there at the El Pollo Loco. Other than that, it's been very minor stuff. No river rescues at all in our area, which is great. That's a sign of between LAPD and the Sheriff's Department going in and cleaning up homeless encampments that were in the riverbeds. And they did a good job getting the folks out, and the folks haven't come back. So with that, we've had no river rescues, no one playing near the rivers, no accidental stuff like that. So it's been a very good period, and from the fire department's point of view, all we can do is keep asking people to stay prepared, because this is obviously just the beginning. It's going to get worse before it gets better, but we're on a good path. So thank you all.
Thank you. Moving on to government reports. I do see that we walked in just in time, so please step forward. And I believe you're the only one here from any government entities, so you'll have 5 minutes to also provide us an update. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roberto Gama. I work for Assemblymember Jimmy Gomez. Thank you for having me here tonight.
Speak closer to the microphone. Have some mic out if you want.
Eat the mic. Eat it? That close? I can speak pretty loud if that works better. It's fine. Excellent. So many of you know my colleague Sarah Rascone. She actually transitioned out. And I'll be your new field rep. So I'm looking forward to getting to work with everyone here. I've been with Assemblymember Gomez for about 3 years now. I started off as an intern, working on his as part of his legislative staff. Field rep now. I cover Lincoln Heights and Cypress Park. So I've been out here every now and then. I've gone to volunteer on a couple of the events. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave my business cards. If there's ever anything state related that we can do to help, or any other issue, please contact us, and we'll be happy to put you in touch with the right office or the right individuals you need to talk to. Other than that, I wanted to talk about an event that's coming up. Assemblymember Gomez, he's going to be doing a healthcare enrollment kind of registration event for Cover California. The open period, it ends on January 31st. So we'll be teaming up with Barrio Action and Ultimate to get folks signed up. That'll be Thursday, January 21st from 5 to 8, and it'll be at Barrio Action. I brought a couple of flyers. I also brought some flyers that give information on different state agencies and departments our office can assist you with. So they're all over in the back table. Other than that, I wanted to report, in December we were able to give over 2,000 toys to families here in our district. So I want to thank everybody that helped make that possible. We had a toy drive, so I know a couple of individuals here that went to help us secure those toys and make it a reality. So thank you for that. Other than that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer anything you may have.
In terms of the outreach, as you know, there's about 95 MCs throughout the city of Los Angeles. And outreach, and a lot of the communities don't even have any idea that their neighborhood councils exist. For us, it's the same thing. What I would like to see, an electric marquee, nice big ones, like some of the schools have. Every school has them now. And why can't we put one right on top of the address numbers that are on that wall like that? You can put it right on top of that, so we don't have to mess with the building whatsoever. I know that you have to go through Barrio Action to get permission, put it on, but the expense, something that I think should be a priority, because then even all the businesses could advertise there, and all the community organizations that exist in LA 32 could also advertise their meeting places, the time, and all of that. It's been well overdue for many years. And since you're brand new here for us as a field rep, I'll just take you up on that question that you said if we have any concerns.
Okay, that's another point. I do want to say, I have noticed this is actually one of the few neighborhood councils that is really active on Facebook. I think that's pretty amazing. I think it's a valid point. I'm not sure our office would be the appropriate office to handle something like that, but it's definitely something to look into. So I'll be sure to take that back.
If you're not the appropriate office, please let us know where we can go to see how we can get that thing up there. You don't want to go all this rigmarole. Right. Send you here, they send you there, and nothing ever happens.
I believe that would be more of a city issue because it's mostly city organizations or city groups that are going to be displayed on that board. So it more than likely would be, but I'd be happy to take that on and ask around and see what's.
Can you ask the councilman, please?
Absolutely.
Maybe he can share, because he built the monument for the veterans, and we're very appreciative and grateful for that.
Absolutely. I'd be more than happy to, and thank you for that question.
Okay, thank you. You have a question?
Will you be staying on for items 12 and 13, since it references the CD?
So I'm actually here, Assemblymember Gomez, he's a state representative, he's a state assembly member. If it's a council issue, I might not be the right representative to be addressing that issue, but what exactly is?
No, he doesn't have any, he's not here from Councilman's office. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, and so we also have Andy from the city clerk's office who just walked in and wants to introduce himself and say a few words as well.
Okay, hello everyone here. Again, my name is Andy. I'm the Independent Elections Administrator for Region 8, which is this region for LA 32. I'm here to assist you guys, your elections committee, in handling the whole elections process. Make sure to answer any questions, help you out with resources, setting up events, and things like that. I spoke with Michelle Corzantes. I'm not sure if she's here today. Hello. Yeah, it's good to see a few faces in the crowd. Everyone's a potential candidate. Once we get to sit down and actually do some work, we'll be able to ramp up and prepare for the elections events. So again, I'll have my business cards to give to each board member and answer any questions you have from the public and from the board. And some handouts. There are a few things that we need to take care of soon so that we can really begin the process. So if you have any questions, I'll hand out my card in a few minutes. I can answer a few questions now.
Well, you have 5 minutes. I mean, does anybody have questions for him regarding elections? Okay.
Are you aware when the committee is going to meet?
I have not been noticed. I might have been noticed, but I spoke with Michelle and she would tell me when we do have the
On the
committee meeting.
18th
The 18th.
of this month.
Okay, that gives me some time to calendar in it. And also, thank you for reminding me, I went to your polling site at El Sereno Public Library, and I spoke with them. I have just one form for confirmation, so everything looks like it's in order there. If everyone doesn't know, I'll remind you, or if you do know, the election is on May 21st. That's quite a few days from now. Or a couple months from now. The candidate filing period will open soon, so keep an eye out for that. Yes, sir?
Can you explain to them what the criteria is to vote, the age and all that? Because we're interested in having them come here on our vacancies, and they don't know what it takes to be director.
Okay, absolutely. I don't know the specific details, but generally, to be a board member, to participate, you have to be a stakeholder. You can either work here, you own property here, or you live here. You could be 16 years old. I'm not sure if that's part of your bylaws. I'll have to take a look, but if you're here because you live here, you live in the area, you work here, you own a business, those are ways to make you eligible to be a candidate, to be a board member. Even now, if there are vacancies, I believe that that's something that, if you're interested in, you could take charge of. One thing I learned, I'm a part of the neighborhood council as well, is it helps if everybody works together and you get as much as you put into it. You get out of it as much as you put into it. I'm a part of Region 7 in the Elysian Valley. And we've been dealing with like internal issues, but we're slowly getting out of it, and it's really nice to see. But it really is a process. It's a commitment, but if you see the outcome, the work that you put into your neighborhood, into your community, it's worth it.
I have another.
Sure.
Also, part of the criteria is if you don't live in the particular neighborhood council, whatever it is, but you're interested, some neighborhood councils have a particular vacancy, such as LA 32, El Sereno has one, which I occupy, call it large. And what you have to do is have a business, not own a business, do business in the community. Like I have my barber, which is Henry, had him for years, that's doing business. I have my bank account at this bank here, I started brand new, that's my home-based account. So that gives you, I shop at Food for Less still to this day, and I eat at the Golondrina almost every day, and I live in El Monte. But I come all the way over here to eat at the Golondrina because it's so delicious. That's part of the criteria of doing business in the community. You eat at McDonald's, Jack in the Box, all of that kind of stuff. That's doing business in the community.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chavez. Andy, do you have anything else to add?
Let's see. If you have questions specifically, like how you want to get involved, because I know that it might be a big commitment, just ask. The neighborhood council, your community needs as much help as it can get. Basically, every single neighborhood. And then hopefully when everything gets settled down, all the neighborhoods can work together, and that's essentially the goal. I'll hand out all of the information to your board so that they can distribute it as well. And I look forward to seeing everyone. The first event should be something like a call for candidates. It should give an opportunity for board members and interested community members who want to run as candidates to get information and also register to potentially be a candidate. And more details will be explained in the coming weeks. Okay, that's it for me. Unless
No, that's all.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Okay. We're going to vote on that today, so that hasn't been adopted yet. Okay, so thank you again. Moving on to committee reports, starting with the executive committee in which I chair. Our meetings are the first Wednesday of every month. This is where we create the agenda. I'm sorry, the third Wednesday of every month. This is where we create the agenda for today's meetings, for the general board meetings. Right now we're down to 3 members later on the agenda if we make it there. We do have the filling of our recording secretary. We also lost our vice president due to absences. Sports and Recs, the chair is not here. Land Use and Development Committee, I also chair. We continue to hold meetings for land use. Our last one did result in a recommendation and a motion that's on today's agenda, and we do have our stakeholder here to address that issue, or that motion, which is a conditional use permit for a school that's located on Collis Avenue, and we'll hear that later on. I don't have anything further coming up on land use, and we may be switching chairs later, so stay tuned for the new postings of the new meetings for that. Beautification, no chair. Arts and Culture, I also chair. And we're going to start working on the Kite Fest. We'll meet not this next week, but the following week. That will be posted. We're going to need volunteers. We're going to need all the help we can get, and we're going to look for community organizations to work with us on the Kite Fest. So anybody interested, please feel free to send me an email, and you can find my email on LA32NC. Membership and outreach, our chair is not here. Public safety, Victor?
Yes, thank you. Due to the holidays and so forth, and some personal issues with some of my committee members, we were unable to meet last month. But I did get in contact with some of my committee members, and we're going to be back on track. We're going to be meeting next week for the Public Safety Committee, so look forward to that. At this time, I would like to, due to the rain and the El Nino, there's a lot of flooding going on at this time. So I would like to outreach at this time on behalf of the membership, the Public Safety Committee, and hand out these disaster booklets to all committee members and to the public out there. This is to educate you in regards to fire, flooding, and so forth. So I would like to pass these out. Mr. Chavez, would you mind passing these out to there's a couple of men.
Yeah, I mind.
So with that said, please, everyone, as the fire department, they mentioned, they have sand. Take advantage of the sand that they have there. There's more rain to come. Please be safe out there. Drive safe. And look forward to the next Public Safety Committee next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. And now we're going to give the floor to our treasurer, Michelle Corsantes, who chairs 3 of the committees, which she'll be addressing: Budget and Finance, Ad Hoc Inventory, and Ad Hoc Elections.
Budget and Finance. As you know, we have everything transparent online, www.le32.org. It is there by category, so you can see all the expenses that we have. And also, we email everything to the board and community members that are part of our mail process. And also for the ad hoc inventory, as you can see, we've been tagging. This is what tagging means, when you give us an item number. And we have a log, so we know exactly how many mics, how many cables, how many laptops, everything that we are using that was purchased with these funds, with city entity funds. So we do have that log also, which I think we made copies last month, but we didn't even get to that. It is on the website if you guys want to view it, and I'll most likely put the link on Facebook so you guys can click it from there into the website. So you can see exactly all the items that we have and the tag number that there is. There's a few more things that we still need to tag, my committee and I, which will probably meet, and we'll be done with, hopefully with everything by next month. For election committee, there is a flyer that I put out there for you guys on the back. I didn't do many copies, but it's a timeline of exactly the candidate timeline, when the candidate filing opens, when the candidate filing closes, the deadline for a candidate to withdraw, and the date that candidates are certified. Then also it gives you the election timeline, which if you don't want to come out to vote, you can register online to vote. And that time period is from December 1st to May 14. You are able to register online to vote. You will have to show proof of documents like a picture ID or a bill with your name, which means you don't have to come out to the site to vote. You vote from home. And it walks you through steps, and that website is also on this flyer, on this page. It walks you through steps on how, once you are registered, how to vote on that day for elections. Well, it's not just that day. Once you're registered, then the time period from April 30th through May 21st, all registered voters are able to go online and vote. If you don't want to register to vote, it is available. We did vote on it as a board. You can come the day of the election. For now, the board has voted at the senior center, but one of our motions that's coming in is going to be at the Sereno library, is where the board voted that that's where our election is going to be. But that most likely we're going to bring in a motion today to change it to another location, which is a little more central, and more people will catch us and see us that we're there, so they could come out and vote. And on May 26th, the election is certified, and we'll know exactly who will be seated for the next term. So this is on the Facebook as well. It's on the website, and there's a few copies in the back, and each board member has a copy of this, so you guys can have the timeline of the election timeline and the candidate timeline.
I have a comment on.
Thank you, Michelle. There's no comments right now, sorry.
Well, she forgot to say something.
Oh, that's okay.
No, it's not.
It's her, she's the chair of the committee, and this is her report, and that's what she gave. There's flyers in the back. Thank you. Approval of the minutes is next on the agenda. These are the minutes from the general board meeting held on November 4th, 2015, and the special meeting of the board that was held on December 7th. We haven't got November 4th yet. I don't know if that's something that our new secretary is gonna watch the video and do the minutes for November 4th, or perhaps, we can get a couple of people to help with that. We didn't have a secretary at the time, a recording secretary. So we all got the minutes for December 7th. We've reviewed them. Is there any comments?
Since we don't have the minutes for the December 4th, can we just scratch this out of the approved minutes?
Well, it'll go on next month's agenda,
And we just motioned to do this month that we're looking at.
December 7th. Yeah. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes, or are there any
I
changes?
move the motion.
You got that? With no changes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted for December 7th, 2015 by Ruben, seconded by Victor. Is there any public comment regarding these minutes? Board comment? Is there any objection to approving the minutes as submitted? Okay, minutes are approved. Do you have a copy that you could, No, well, there's no objection, so it's unanimous.
Objections being,
To approval of the minutes.
if you don't object to the approval, can you also not vote, or can you abstain not to?
Well, would you like to abstain?
I like that.
Okay, let's take a vote then. All in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand. 8. Any opposition? Abstentions? 1. 801, motion passes. Minutes are approved.
Doing it there, and then I do it, or right, to that one.
Okay, motion passes, and you'll post the minutes, or?
I believe I'll forward them to you or to someone who's in charge of the website so they can be posted.
Okay.
Before we move to item 7, I'd just like to indicate that we do have West Region Director Hugo Pacheco who signed in at 6:08. We have a total of 9 members present.
Thank you. Item number 7 is our treasurer's report regarding LA 32 finances. This is a discussion and possible action for approval of the LA 32 NC monthly expenditure report for December 2015, and it's attachment 1 on your agenda. Michelle?
Okay, the monthly report for the month of November, December. The December 2015 monthly report goes as follows: $381.87 operation expense, $1,749.17 was for outreach expense, and those outreach expense are for committees that have made outreach with community organizations, which brings us to a total of $2,131.04 for the month of December. Thank you. Oh, and this is posted also on the website and on Facebook, if you guys want to see it.
And it's broken down on page 1 for operations and outreach.
And I'll project
And whenever anybody's ready, we can go ahead and make a motion to approve.
I move the motion to approve.
Is there a second?
There it is. You guys can see it there.
So we have a motion to approve the monthly expenditure report for December 2015, made by Ruben, seconded by Tom Williams. Is there any public comment regarding this? Board comment? Roll call vote? Is this roll call?
Yes, it is.
Okay, go ahead.
Hugo Pacheco,
Yes.
Tom Williams,
Yes.
Augie Rodriguez, absent. Cynthia Sandoval,
Yes.
Manuel Chacon, absent. Troy Carvajal,
Yes.
Anthony Manzano,
Yes.
Victor Junayala,
Yes.
Yoli Garcia, absent. Gama Andrade, absent. Michelle Corsantes, yes. Ruben Chavez,
Yes.
Angela Duarte, absent. Marlene Fonseca.
Yes.
900, motion passes.
Thank you, and thank you for the monthly report, as always, very well organized. Item,
Point of clarification, if I could ask the chair, does this require that we also have passed the ethics and the finance and funding in order to approve this? To vote for that,
yes, it's a funding,
right?
well, yes, you've taken it.
Take the vote.
Yeah, you all have.
We're all up to Ruben.
Everybody's up to date.
Ruben updated this, yeah.
Thank you. I'd say anything that needs a roll call vote is a funding item that you need the training for. Okay, moving on to old business, item number 8. We need to appoint a board member to represent LA32NC on a public safety advisory committee for LAFD Operations Central Bureau. The intent of the committee is to improve local community involvement and interaction with first responders regarding fire, ambulance, and code issues. Meetings are held on the second Wednesday evenings at downtown at 500 East Temple on a bi-monthly basis. They hold their meetings on the odd-numbered months. And I'd first like to ask if there's any volunteers for this position. Victor?
Yes, I would like to, I show interest in this.
Anybody else?
I'd like to just make a clarification on this. It says 500 East Temple. I looked for that 500 East Temple because the Veterans Building is on Temple and Alameda. And this 500 is somewhere in between there. And I couldn't see any building with a 500 on it.
It's right across from LA City Personnel Building. You know where the Medical Services Division is?
Yes.
And in between personnel and the fire department, it's right there. It's a brand new building.
Okay, thank you.
Surely. Is there any other volunteers? I think Victor's a good choice as he's our public safety chair already. And I believe involved with CERT, aren't you? No, you are. So if Victor is the only volunteer, and is there any opposition to Victor being our representative for the Public Safety Advisory Committee? Okay, so I'll take that as a ratification of your self-nomination, and you'll be appointed. I'll notify the appropriate entities tomorrow, and I'll CC you on the email, so I'll provide them your email so they'll be in contact with you for the next meeting. Thank you, Victor.
Is that an invitation for just one person to attend, or can anyone attend?
I mean, they asked for one person. I'm sure you can go with him on a meeting if you're interested in sitting in.
Probably open to the public to start with.
I'm sure it is. Okay, item 9 is an appointment of a board member to serve as the liaison to Public Works Bureau of Street Services. This liaison will be responsible for coordinating with the department regarding small asphalt repairs and other similar work. As you guys know, we often get these emails to submit street names for small asphalt repairs about every 4 months, maybe 5 months.
Well, I might say they did everything for this year 3 months ago.
Okay, so there should be another one coming up. I know the councilman's
You
office.
can still go to 311 and complain about potholes. This was entirely for potholes. They gave the impression that it was going to be for something bigger
Can you use the
than
mic,
1
please?
foot. Then you do the same. Okay, hello. Okay, they, basically, this was for organizing potholes. We were allowed 15 potholes and LA 32. You can still submit them on 311 or go to the website for street services. Just do a Google LA City Street Services potholes, and you'll get the same sort of response. They were trying to organize it, but they could not get themselves organized. It's kind of a moot point, I would say, withdraw it at this time. If you want, I will represent it, that's no problem, but I think it's a moot point now.
Okay, it's not a motion.
Yeah. What it says? Appointment?
Yeah, it would be an appointment.
He's willing, why don't you give him the appointment? He's willing, he just volunteered.
I will volunteer.
Okay, great. I mean, the term is gonna be up in a few months. Chances are they may not even do another street
Yeah.
repair in that time period.
We'll try again.
Okay, great. So for the time being, we'll go ahead and
Tom.
appoint Tom Williams as our liaison to Public Works BOSS. And unless there's any objection to him representing us, we'll take that as a unanimous consent, and thank you for volunteering for that, Tom Williams. Moving on to item 10.
Just today. If you know of any potholes, this is the time to do it. But they won't be able to get to them for at least 2 months because of the rain.
Can we call you on the pothole?
Email
You
him.
can email anybody on potholes.
You can also maintain a list so that you can have one ready when the
I
request comes
will
up.
prepare a list.
Thank you. Item number. Okay, item number 10 is committee appointments and changes. We have a number of committees that need a few changes made to them, starting with the Ad Hoc Election Committee. The Chair, Michelle Corsantes, has requested that we appoint some additional stakeholders to your committee. Are you still wanting?
Yeah,
Okay, do you have any stakeholders that are willing and?
we had some, they're still interested, I don't see them physically here. But if there's anyone here that wants to be in the election, they could come on board. I could give you the names of the 2 people.
Yeah, give me the names. We could go ahead and appoint them without them here. I mean, if you're sure.
Because they had said yes to me, and they were here last month, but we didn't have quorum last month. So.
In addition, you can ask anybody present.
Anyone, yeah. So before I give you the 3 names, is there anyone here on this room tonight that would like to be part of the election committee? We meet on a monthly basis. We haven't set a standard date yet. We'll most likely do that this month in January. What we do, we need hands, a lot of people advocating the election. Whenever the community is having an event, we would go out as a committee together to promote the elections, to invite everyone and anyone that elections is coming up, and we need people to run for a board seat up here. So is there anyone interested on the board, or anyone sitting here who would like to
Be on your committee.
be on our election committee? No? All right, woo! We got one. What is your name?
That's Jennifer,
Jennifer, last name?
MARKEWYCH.
MARKEW.
YCH.
And your first name?
Jennifer.
Okay. So let me give you the names of the people that will be on, that we can ratify, will be Liz Gonzalez, Joaquin Bustamante, Jacqueline Lynn,
Lynn?
Jacqueline, what's your last name, Casillas? Jacqueline Casillas, and Jan or Jane?
Jen.
Jen. How do you spell that?
It's Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer.
But
Jennifer
Jen.
Markevich.
Markevich.
Do you want me to spell her last name?
No, I wrote it.
Okay. Those are the people that were interested on the election committee.
Okay, great. So we'll go ahead and appoint the following stakeholders to the Ad Hoc Election Committee. That would be Liz Gonzalez, Joaquin Bustamante, Jacqueline Casillas, and Jennifer Markovich. Is there any opposition to these stakeholders being on the election committee? Any concerns?
And I have to finish the question. Are you you a committee member? You in the committee yet?
I live
I just
here.
want to make sure.
Yes, she's here, she's been at a number of meetings. I believe you're a teacher at Cal State as well, right?
No,
No, that's not you?
no. I've talked about Cal State LA, but
Oh,
no,
okay.
I don't teach there yet.
Okay. All right, so if there's no opposition to this, we'll go ahead and ratify the committee members and appoint them to the ad hoc election committee. Next is,
Congratulations, Jennifer, you're on a committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the first step to being on the board.
I'll make sure to exchange emails.
Yeah,
after.
absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Next is the bylaws committee. We definitely need a chair for this. The former resigned and therefore cannot chair. That was Jenny Guerrero. On the committee is Victor Agnoli right now. Neither of you have told me that you want to be removed from that committee. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you on. I know some people expressed some interest in chairing this committee. Were you one of them? No, okay, good. Not good, but I'm thinking of Anthony or Hugo as the chair. Are either of you willing to chair this committee?
I definitely would like to do that.
You would? Are you okay with that? Great. So I would like to appoint Hugo Pacheco as chair of the bylaws committee with Victor Agnoli as your members still.
Excellent choice.
Is there any opposition to Mr. Pacheco chairing this committee?
Excellent choice.
Again, by unanimous consent, we'll go ahead and consider that ratified, and you are now the chair of the bylaws committee. Thank you.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I'm gonna hold off. We have big beautification on the agenda. I'm thinking I'm gonna hold off on it only because there's a motion to remove the money from there. I don't think, if we appoint a chair now and then we remove the money from the committee, there's no committee. I mean, beautification possibly might be able to do things without money, but.
Yeah,
Do things without as long as.
Gotta have to see if anybody's interested to start with.
Okay, all right. The former member resigned. We still have Michelle and Julio the former chair resigned, she resigned from the board. So we still have Michelle and Julio as, Julio Torres from the councilman's office as members of the beautification committee. We do need a chair. Was it you, Victor?
Yeah, I did show interest in this.
Are you still interested?
Yes, I am.
Even though you're chairing, what are you chairing now, public safety? Just public safety?
I'm on
Bylaws and the,
I'm gonna, that's the one.
okay.
He's legal, he's okay.
Yeah, so you're okay with chairing beautification? Okay, I would like to appoint Victor as the chair of the beautification committee. Is there any opposition to this by the board members? Or any concerns? Okay, if there's no opposition, that would be a unanimous consent, and Victor will be the new chair of the beautification committee.
Yay, Victor.
I'm going to hold off on the land use committee, in which I currently chair. I haven't officially resigned yet. Angela's not here. I don't know how many absences this is for her. I don't know if she's going to be subject to removal, and if she is, then she can't chair a committee. She could be a member, but she can't chair. So before resigning and appointing her as the chair, I would like to be sure that she's... Does anybody know if she's coming tonight?
I know that she did have some personal problems, but as far as showing up tonight, I'm not.
Okay. She emailed earlier asking to bring copies of the minutes for her, so I expected her. But I'm going to hold off on that for that reason, because there may be some things that come up that may need to be addressed before next month. Membership and Outreach Committee. It's already 7 o'clock. Gama's not here. I didn't hear from him today. He didn't resign from the Membership Outreach as the chair, but this would be, I believe, 2 consecutive absences. And so he'll be subject to removal as well. So he can't chair the Membership Outreach anymore. Is there a volunteer for Membership Outreach?
Is he still a director though?
Well, after today, I mean, if he doesn't report here, then he's missed 2 consecutives without notification.
The vacancies are.
But he didn't resign. He resigned as executive only. Are you interested in chairing it? We're asking if there's any volunteers to chair it. Would you like to chair a committee, Chair?
No, not at this time, thank you.
Okay, not that one?
Not that
Victor, are you volunteering?
Not this one, no, who's the other committee members on that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Those are Michelle, and actually Jenny was also a member, but she'll need to be replaced also.
So, you will need a chair and another
Member.
member. I would like to be a part of that committee.
You'd like to be a member?
Yes.
Okay. I do need a chair though. Who's absent at my chair?
Maybe come.
Tom, are you interested in membership outreach committee? Chairing it?
You'd be good at it.
How about you?
Charlie.
Victor?
No, Madam President, this is a very important committee, and we really need this committee to be productive because simple fact that with elections coming up and with not too many stakeholders knowing about LA 32, we really need to get this membership and
I can't.
going.
Yeah.
So,
I can't chair. I'm gonna have to ask for an interim chair. Anthony, would you be willing to be an interim chair for the next couple months? Maybe when we fill the 2 seats that are vacant or will be vacant, we can go ahead and switch that?
Say yes.
Yes. Great, thank you.
yes.
So we're gonna go ahead and appoint Anthony as the interim chair and see if maybe he becomes a permanent chair. Is there any opposition to this? Okay, it's ratified and Anthony will be the new chair. I'm also appointing Victor as a new committee member. Thank you. Education Committee. We have 2 members, Anthony Manzano and Desiree Mulatto. I'm not sure that they've ever met. Sasha was the chair and I don't believe she ever held a meeting. What's the thought on this committee? Again, this is another committee that the money is right on this agenda up for removal. Mr. Pacheco?
But in terms of thoughts, it's like an open discussion, is that what you're saying?
We can discuss it.
Okay, I'm looking at the budget, the budget's $1,000, it's never been spent,
Well, yes.
right? So no, I'm thinking about in terms of importance. The other thing though is the description within the bylaws. It says act as LA 32 NC liaison with any educational entity within the LA 32 NC community. I don't know where the budget of $1,000 came from in terms of being a liaison. That's all it says that this committee does is a liaison. So I'm not sure why the $1,000 was budgeted for that. I mean, it's just an open discussion.
Right, I mean, my thoughts on that is as a liaison, that it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't hold events or partner with schools to provide, I don't know. There was recently a walk to school day, that's something I would have liked to see our board take part in. Even maybe provide the water when the kids get to school, something like that. However, though you say there's $1,000 in there, I don't know if you noticed, there's also a motion to reallocate and remove that $1,000 from them.
And I was thinking in terms of how, the importance that it's given in terms by this NC to that specific topic in education, which is, for me, it's a very important topic. I mean, all my life, I've always fought for making sure that our community gets its fair share. And that, again, the $1,000, what could it be used for? I would hate to see it be lost. Again, like I said, my involvement in this community has been ever since I got to Wilson High School, and my counselor kept trying to put me in the shops, and I said, forget it. You know, I'm a science and engineering route major. I want to be an engineer. I don't want to be ending up in the auto shop. And that was just my preference. And so I kept watching specific members of our community being railroaded into, you know, that kind of an educational situation, as opposed to making sure that we got the higher educational opportunity. So I'm asking myself, if we put $1,000, it was a great idea. What was the idea for, other than being a liaison? Because that's all it says right here, be a liaison.
Well, you have to have a liaison first, because no one volunteers for that position.
Again, I mean, a liaison would be like the one that would have organized the walk to the schools, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the committee can't submit a motion to fund something that the education committee is participating in. Victor?
Yes, a couple of years ago, I chaired that committee, and we did numerous outreach where we made motions to spend funds. So as far as the liaison, we can actually, even though the one's going to be taken, we do outreach. The committee does do outreach, and I know what you said as far as doing the walk program. It's great. So I'm not too sure if the other committee member, Desiree, I'm not too sure if she's still interested in being in that committee, but if not, I show interest in that. So whatever decision that's going to be made here today, I would like to show interest and be a part of that committee.
Okay. Okay, I haven't notified her that she'd be removed, so we would have to do that first if we're going to remove her. Is there somebody to chair this committee? Is this something that we want to hold off and see who else comes on board? Okay, I'm gonna wait on
Could you repeat the name of the committee, please?
education. I'm gonna hold off on the education committee. So thank you to everybody who volunteered and to the stakeholders as well. We're moving on to item 11, which I may need a little help from Malvin on, or you, Anthony. This is an old motion, discussion and possible action. The motion that LA 32 NC fund up to $300 for a cleanup and planting event in the Roseville community, which was to take place on Saturday, December 5th at 9 a.m. It's a moot point right now, but I mean, so the maker of the motion is gone, so she can't withdraw.
No, I was the maker.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was about to remove it.
Oh, okay, great. I thought Luisana made it.
No, I made that one. Madam Chair, as the maker of this motion, since the date expired, I would like to remove that from the agenda.
Okay, so you're making a motion to withdraw this item from the agenda, and does that take a 2/3 vote, or it doesn't?
No, actually, if there's no opposition, no objection from the board, it can be
We could go ahead and remove it. Okay. So is there any opposition to removing this motion? Okay, thank you, Michelle. The motion's removed.
Point of clarification, can I ask Melvin? If this was a possible motion, it was never really made a motion, right? Therefore, it's mute. Doesn't have to be. Unless there's a second, we don't even discuss it. It doesn't even come up.
What, the withdrawal?
Yeah.
There was a second because I had seconded, but she had removed it.
You didn't second it?
Or did you?
Back then, yeah.
Oh. No, we never discussed this.
We never discussed this.
It's a new motion.
It's been here since October 15th.
So it doesn't, right? Yeah, you just move on.
Okay, I need to step out. Can you take over? We're on item 12. I'll just be a couple minutes.
Okay, item 12, possible and discussion and possible action. Motion that LA 32 NC send a letter to Recreation and Parks Commissioners and Councilmember Jose Weezer requesting an update of AC status. Money has been allocated for the AC repair at Rose Hill Rec Center gym, but hasn't been fixed. This motion is coming in from Sports and Rec Committee. So Sports and Rec Chair is Yoli. Would the committee like to give us a little more explanation on that before we have somebody, information, before somebody makes that motion and move it forward?
So this was brought up from stakeholders in the community of Rose Hills. We conducted a meeting there, and back in 2009, the Department of Recreation and Parks approved for the installation of a air conditioning unit for the Rose Hill Recreation Center. 2 years ago, I contacted the councilman's office and asking them what's going on, why it was approved in 2009, and still to this day, the seniors, they hold their weekly senior meetings there, and there's an auditorium, there's no gym. And during the hot summer days, for seniors, it's really hot in there. There's been occasions to where that sometimes they would have to contact the fire department because of heat exhaustion. So this was brought up again to the committee, and we contacted CD14, and to this day we don't know what's going on. They're not getting back to us. So as a committee, we thought it would be only fair and the right thing to do is to send a letter in behalf of LA 32 to the commissioners asking what's going on. If it was approved back in 2009, here it is 2016, and the seniors are still to this day having their committee meetings there, but summertime, it gets really hot in there. So this was very important for our committee, and also the full board thought it was an importance also. So we thought it was a good idea to bring it to the full board to vote on this. So as a committee member for that committee, I would hope that you would support this.
I move the motion.
Anybody second that?
Second.
You have three that second, well, one that verbally said it and two raised their hand. Tom verbally said it, and Pacheco and Sandoval raised their hand. Oh, I'm sorry, she said it. They said it at the same time, so.
It doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay. Public comment on this motion that we just moved forward, number 13? No public comment? No, item 12. Board discussion starting on this side to the right, Mr. Chavez.
I pass.
Troy? Victor?
As I mentioned before, this is very important to the committee members and the community of Rose Hills. It's very unfortunate that the seniors have to have their meetings in such a hot place. I think it's a public safety issue, and I would hope that you would support this.
Cynthia? Me, nothing, I pass, and I give the chair back to...
Oh, no, you're finished.
Oh, okay. Anthony?
Thank you, everybody. I'd like to support this motion. Oddly enough, it has taken some years that the Sports and Recreation Committee has found information. But more importantly for the stakeholders is the Senior Citizen Center. Many people in the community do use this facility as a Senior Citizen Center, which it is, so rightfully named. But many people also use the Rose Hill Recreation Center as a Senior Citizen Center. And much like June had mentioned, it is an old building, brick building, built over 60 years ago, still has the same windows, same flooring, no insulation, no heaters, no fans in the summertime. And basically what has happened is the community of Rose Hills and the seniors specifically have been forgotten about. We would like to ask that this council member or that the neighborhood council prepare a resolution to the council member Jose Huizar's office just requesting the status and an update. So I would encourage all the colleagues to support this. Basically, there is no money involved and we're just asking to support the senior citizens in the community. Thank you.
You know what, I do actually have a question.
It reads here that money has been allocated for the AC repair at Rose Hill Rec Center, but has not been fixed. So that was allocated to that park, but they haven't, who hasn't moved it? The director, Juan Guzman, or the councilman needs to tell the park department to do something with it, or?
Well, that's our concern, is that the Department of Recreation and Parks approved the funding for it back in 2009, but ever since then, when you go ask, hey, what's going on? We asked the Recreation and Parks, they said, we don't know. And we asked CD14, and they're saying they don't know. So this is something to where that we're asking questions on why is it that no one knows when it was approved back in 2009.
I also have a comment on that. We've had several directors in charge of that facility, Rose Hills. And because of that, I think that's part of it, because I think it's an obligation of the director to move that, because he's serving those people that come to the senior citizens. And he or she, because we've had men and women in charge of that facility, and I think that's part of the problem.
Thank you. Tom Williams? Hugo Pacheco?
Yes, you know, we can speculate whatever it might be. You might be right or somebody else might be right, but I think, you know, part of as I was reading and going through my training, the new training, this idea of local needs. This is very specific to the idea of local needs. And all we're asking for is, from it looks here, it's a status report. How unfortunate that we're not even respected enough to get a status report, either from a department of the city or the council members. So I think it's important that we support this. Thank you.
Any more board discussion? Anybody ready to, the wording of the letter, that's the only question that I have. Where do we come up with that template? Where do we find it?
Who's responsible? Are you with the recording secretary? Can I send it back?
Yoli had said she was gonna.
The letter.
You said it's a resolution.
conflict of interest, whatever the letter is, and whoever creates it, the board has to approve it. You just can't send it to them without us knowing what the letter reads.
Well,
No, because we're approving it right now. We're about to approve that letter right now.
it's a template.
It's a template. Yeah.
Okay.
Which has been,
It'll just,
I
You should have
understand
seen
the
it,
process
yeah.
of the template,
it'll
no
tell the
problem.
motion on it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
does anybody want to move this forward then?
I move it.
It's been moved.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Okay, so then we're ready to vote. Discussion and possible action. It was number 12, right? Motion that Alley 32 sends a letter to Recreation and Park Commissioners and Councilman Jose Weezer requesting an update of AC status. Money has been allocated for the AC repair at Rose Hill Center Gym, but hasn't been fixed. All in favor, please raise your hand. We have 1, 2, 3, I'm sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 favor. Nine in favor, motion passes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Marlene?
Thank you. I'll be in contact with you to see about preparing that resolution. Okay. Item number 13 is discussion and possible action. The motion that LA 32 NC send a letter to Recreation and Parks Commissioners and Councilmember Jose Huizar requesting an update of the El Sereno Recreation Center proposed repairs/improvements and request an itemized list of the improvements and inquire about community input/participation in regards to the design and improvements. Also submitted by the Sports and Rec Committee back in October.
I move the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Did somebody want to speak on this motion? Victor, did you make this motion?
Well, actually, this is from Yoli. At our last meeting, she had stated that she was going to get in contact with because my understanding that she is a committee member for the Park Advisory Board there, and she was going to see if she can get an update, but we haven't had any contact with her for quite some time now, so we don't know exactly what's going on here, but we are in full support of this.
But you were there when they made the motion?
Yes, yes.
Okay, motion's been moved and seconded and is now open to public comment. Is there any public comment on this? Is there any board comment on this? Starting to my left, Hugo.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of, again, back to this recent training that I took on conflict of interest. If you're part of the Park Advisory Board, would there be a conflict of interest of also making a motion?
Yes.
I'm requesting that as, for the chair, and it's up to the chair to decide who they want to ask the question to.
There is a
Not
The
this
chair's
member.
not here.
Right, and we don't know if she consulted with the city attorney, and I don't know the answer. I don't know whether that would be considered a conflict. My initial gut would say no, but you're saying yes.
Well, Mr. Malvin is right there.
I mean, she has no monetary interest in it.
She doesn't get paid,
Right.
doesn't get any financial gain.
Nothing,
well,
no gain, no.
No gain.
Again, my question is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a monetary interest. It does not have to be under I just did the trading last night. It does not have to be, right?
Yeah, you did.
And so I'm just requesting, that's all I'm saying, and I'm just bringing it up.
Now, Ben, can you clarify?
A quick question, is she on the Park Advisory?
I don't. For
That's
El
what-
Sereno?
That's what I just heard right now.
But we
she
don't
is?
even know if she is or not.
Okay, Malvin's gonna answer the question.
So, correct, it doesn't have to be just only with financial implications, but the issues of bias as well. That's what impacts conflict of interest questions. Definitely the best practice would have been to have contacted the city attorney prior. My advice is that, it's up to the board. Who's the board member in question?
She's not here.
Yoli Garcia, she's the chair to this committee and she's not here.
Oh, but in that committee?
Made that motion, her member.
Yes. We don't even know if she's on the PAB though.
It's my understanding at our last committee, she had told us that she was a member of that committee. But because I've been trying to contact the park director to find this out, he's not. But then again, discussion, there was $190,000 that were remaining for the construction of that gym. I mean, that's the funding part about it, but as far as a conflict of her being, getting any kind of compensation, there was no discussion of that, so.
Well, I guess
It doesn't have to do just with any direct compensation or any indirect compensation. It just has to do, what's your relationship to the subject matter, and if there is any question of bias, that can be brought out by someone as a possible conflict of interest. I'm not telling you that it is, and, neither anyone of us here can do that. Really, it's up to, it's a discussion with the city attorney. It's up to you guys as a board, how you want to proceed, but.
Well, okay, so the motion's already been moved and seconded. I mean, at this point, if we wanted to table it, we would have to withdraw the first and second, or can we, is tabling trump the?
The issue that I see here on the agenda is that, and just for technicality, the question has been raised, but in parentheses at the end of the agenda item, that implies that it's coming from this committee?
From that committee, who met on that day and took that vote.
So, correct, yeah, so because it's coming straight from the committee and there's a question as to how that committee made its took its action, then, yeah, I would advise that you perhaps hold off on it.
Okay.
For future reference, I mean, not a way to get around it either, but a board can make its own recommendation. So the board can, you could have simply put this on the agenda and let the board decide. So it is not that a committee will be telling you what they think or no. In this case, that's what it is, and it's on the agenda. But for, because it is there, then.
Still a conflict of interest, because it's got something to do with the commission.
Okay. Who moved this motion?
Actually, she did.
No, who moved it here at this table?
I withdraw my second, or my motion.
Ruben moved it and Tom seconded.
Okay.
I withdraw my motion, moving the motion. Now we can make
We need the second, John, right?
No, it already belongs to the board, I mean, to the body, the motion, so the body can just decide to table it at this point.
Okay, okay.
Point of clarification, Melvin. The difference between tabling and postponing. Tabling is indefinite, postponing would be a specific date. Is that correct?
You can table it to a specific, I mean, you say we're gonna table it, and for the purposes of what you want to do, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Because the postponing is, my understanding is when you say, let's postpone until the next meeting or the next time she shows up.
Right.
Tabling, it's almost an indefinite.
I thought postpone indefinitely was postpone indefinitely.
No, tabling.
So you can just say, postpone it until further advice, and you'll consult with the committee and take it from there. You can bring it back to the board, perhaps, straight as a board.
Okay, so we need a motion to postpone this.
I make the motion to postpone it.
To postpone item 13.
You need to
Do we need a specific date?
Specific date or action. So like when Yoli comes back to the.
We can postpone till the next board meeting, and in between there.
I second that. I second that.
Great, okay, so we have a motion to postpone
Till the next board meeting.
for the next board meeting, and it was seconded by Mr. Pacheco. Is there any public comment on this? Any comment by the board? Tom?
We're in the senior center. I would also request that the original motion be expanded to include an update as to both the recreation center and the senior center, because I've been told that there are work orders that have been submitted, but no actions taken regarding the toilets and the ventilation for those.
Okay, right now we're speaking on postponing the item. However, that is something that will inform the Sports and Rec Committee of your request, or you can attend the meeting, maybe they'll amend the motion, or you can come back here and you can amend it. Is there any discussion on postponing this item? Comments or concerns?
The reason for it is because that buys us the time to resolve the issue.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote. All in favor of postponing this item until Yoli is here and able to address our concerns? Raise your hand. Oppositions? Abstention? 9? Oh, go ahead. You can 901.
Or 10, are we?
So that's postponing, right, 901?
Item number 13, 9 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 abstention. Motion passes to postpone to the next board meeting.
Who's the abstention?
Thank you. Now we're moving on to new business for December. This is a discussion and possible action. The motion that LA 32 NC Executive Committee officers bring forth, the inventory items to be tagged and accounted for, to be brought at the next general board meeting. States January 6th, but would now be the next meeting on first Wednesday of February. This committee is requesting that the president, Marlene Fonseca, bring one laptop that was received from the former president, vice president, who is now no longer on the board, bring forward her laptop. Corresponding Secretary Gamaliel, his laptop, and the Epson printer, and Treasurer Michelle Crisantes, her Dell laptop, her Epson printer, and her green wagon, and her laptop bag. And this is to be tagged.
I move the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? Is there any public comment on this motion? Is there any board comment?
Yes, board comment. The reason why the committee asked the executive officers to bring this forward so we can tag them, because we have the numbers here, and we have the log here on the inventory binder here, which we're about to assign numbers to these laptops, because these laptops didn't have numbers. So there's no way of record of you, community, knowing who has what laptop, and what does it look like, and how much is it worth, type of stuff. So that's why we made this motion, so us executive officers can bring them forward and assign a tag number right now. But of course, we asked for this last month, and yeah, and they complied. Gama did comply to all of his stuff, and the only thing I didn't bring was a printer, because it was raining, and I was scared that it might get wet. But I brought the green wagon, the laptop, and what was the other stuff? The black bag. Those 3 things are here. So I'll be tagging these today and assigning them a number, so you guys can also know that that'll be added to the inventory list. And I'll be tagging this laptop here, which is the one Gama brought, and the printer that Gama brought as well. And I don't know if Marlene brought her laptop too.
I did. Is there any other board comment? Anthony?
My quick question is, if we're voting on this, is it for items A through D all at once?
Yes.
Item 14, A through D?
Yes.
Yep.
Any other board comment? Let's go ahead and take a vote on this motion that the executive committee officers bring forth the inventory items listed in A through D to be tagged and accounted for. Anything that's not here shall be brought to the next general board meeting. All in favor of this motion, raise your hand.
We have 10 in favor, opposed, abstentions, 0. Motion passes 10-0-0.
Thank you all. Item number 15, discussion and possible action. Motion. That the corresponding Secretary Gamaliel Andrade bring the Epson printer that was purchased with LA 32NC funds on June 2015 to the Senior Citizen Center, and it remain in the LA 32NC locker for the use of LA 32NC business only, and provide copies at all general board meetings. This is to be returned by 12/4/15, and the president and/or treasurer accept the Epson printer from corresponding secretary. He's already turned all this in, so I think at this point, I'm hoping this motion will be withdrawn. And
I move the motion.
who made it?
I'm moving the motion.
I'll second it.
No.
He's already returned all the items.
Wait, I'm gonna have to withdraw that motion. I created the motion and we voted on it 3-0-0 on 11/21/2015. He's already returned everything, the actual date, December 4th. Everything has been in the locker here that we have in the senior center, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove that motion from our agenda tonight. Since
We don't
it's
have to make
already
any motion, just move on to 16.
No, so that item is withdrawn. Thank you, Cynthia.
Sure.
It's on there.
December 4th.
Is when he brought it, yeah.
He complied with the date. We had everything here by December 4th.
And we already assigned it to Anthony, he's already using it.
To Anthony.
Yeah, the laptop.
Oh,
That's the one Gamo brought, he's already using
okay. Item 16. Melvin, I think I might need your assistance on this one, or one of you. Anthony,
I
you
had
go.
a question on that, if I could.
16?
No, 15, clarification, because that's about a printer, right? Not about a laptop.
Both.
Both.
Okay, now, my question was is that, again, with that training, none of this equipment was supposed to go at all at home.
Right, it's not supposed to be kept at people's homes, but our laptops, I mean, we don't have an office and we're expected to use them for business, so.
And we have a checkup form that we signed saying that it's on file, that I, Michelle, took it out. Well, that's why that was that motion, so we could do that.
We also had a motion.
Is that in conflict with Dunn's? Because according to the training I took, none of this equipment can be taken home.
Right.
That is correct.
So we did pick up,
We need to be functioning,
go
so.
ahead, Mel.
No, well, correct, I mean, the thing when you take it home is that you're taking it home at your own risk. Should something happen to it, the city may, look at you to replace it. If you have an NC office, then that's deemed city property. And if anything happens there, then, it's
Covered by the
considered to be covered under the city. But if you take it home and you're not supposed to, then you're responsible for it. We do understand that not every council has offices, and you may not even have a storage facility. If you do, that's another place where you could have it. So, we're somewhat flexible with that, but you're doing it at your own risk. You shouldn't do it.
I guess my next
Yeah.
question would be, we need to make sure that whatever is returned back that people have checked out is returned good, working in order. So that this printer, there should be a motion to make sure that it was brought back, right? Otherwise, we have to ask him to pay for the repairs.
Right. I don't know that we need a motion on that. I mean, the printer will be checked.
Can I justify, Madam Chair? So as you know, this is the inventory book that has every time somebody checks out, we fill out a checkup form. And I know that Layla, who was our representative back then, said, you don't have an office, but you need to be functioning. So create a form, so everybody knows, community knows of this form, that this laptop is with you, because you need to function as a treasurer, as a president, and so forth. So it is publicly known that these forms are here, and whenever anyone wants to see them, maybe that'll be my next step, to put it on the website, to be a little more transparent on that, because I haven't put this on the website. But I can ask Eric to put a tab for us on inventory, so every time somebody checks out, we can scan it on the website as well. For right now, I email you guys every time somebody checks out, and you guys should all have them, but you're more than welcome to look through this binder or scan everything on here. But I remember Layla did say, you don't have an office, you're not supposed to, but you need to be functioning. And if your board agrees on that form, and you can take it home, then it needs to be on that paper, which is right here, where it reads Marlene Fonseca, all the stuff she has, her signature, and so forth.
Yeah, so when it's returned, it should be returned in its original
In
condition.
working condition, yes.
Which reminds me of the camera, and there was a lost digital card.
Mhm.
Should not that digital card have been paid by the person who checked out the camera, according to this policy, and not this board? Because it was in the possession of somebody at the time, outside of here.
We did check with the department when that occurred.
I'm just asking because, I mean, if we follow rules, right?
What policy are you referring to?
What you just said.
What policy are you referring to, Melvin? Is it a written policy?
Well, it's improper, so it should something happen to it, and this has happened with the neighborhood council. And if necessary, there is an investigation. If
Okay.
it's something
Right.
deemed that, done accidentally, you
Okay, right.
can't communicate with us. So it is not that you cannot do it, I mean, you shouldn't do it. In the department, we understand all these rules were made for city agencies, city departments that operate in a very traditional way, where we work with City Hall or some other city government agency office space. You don't. So I'm happy to hear, yeah, Leila is correct, you should have a system to keep track of the equipment. And but like I said earlier, should you keep it with you, if something happens to it under your possession, you may be held responsible for it.
Right.
So
And
if something happened, then let us know.
Yeah, and you did trigger my memory, and that's exactly what we did. We informed the department, they asked for details, they wanted to know exactly why and how it happened, and then they deemed that it wasn't, they didn't hold her liable. That was the department's decision. Yes. You know what, you guys, we're done with item 15. Or, yeah, we're
How
done
come
with
I
this
can't
item.
get my First Amendment?
I'm gonna give you the opportunity to ask something, and then that's it, we're moving on.
Okay, the last person from Dunn was a young lady, I don't remember her name before this gentleman came.
Amber.
She made it very abundantly clear. Now, the fact that it's very healthy, what's going on right now, is because we have very new board members, but the existing board members, we are fully aware of what Michelle has talked about. To us, it's nothing new. But to them, I respect the fact that he brought it up, you know, so he's now in line with his thing. But, you know, we are responsible for these things.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Melvin. We're gonna move on to item 16, which I might need your assistance on. This isn't a motion, it was a discussion and possible action. Again, it's another, we can no longer participate in this capacity.
I have a point of interest. Yoli's here, and we can ask her about, should I make a motion to bring that back?
No, thank you. It's already been sent back and it's been postponed for the next meeting. Thank you. We're on item 16, yes. So this was to participate in the 2016 homeless count. This was the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority who does this count, which identifies homeless people and the demographic characteristics of homeless people, where they're staying, ages, etc., as related to our area 90032. If we chose to opt in, we'd be responsible for a number of things, including getting volunteers, feeding them, participating in the count. Though we've already missed the deadline, LASA has said to us that we can participate with Highland Park as individuals and possibly focusing on our area, but as far as opting in, it's no longer an option.
Yeah, you know, yeah. I've heard of it, I'm not very
Okay,
familiar
so my question then is, it's not a motion, it was a discussion and possible action, there was no recommendation from a committee made on this. So in order to remove it from the agenda, do we need somebody to make a motion to?
Yeah, you can just remove it from the agenda, or just table it, postpone it indefinitely.
Right, I'd rather not table or postpone indefinitely, I want it off the agenda.
Well, it's on your agenda, so, we can't
Remove it.
say that, it's not there. So it's a matter the board doesn't want to entertain it because the deadline has been missed and that point is well taken and.
Okay, or actually it's not a motion, so if nobody makes a motion on it, then.
Make the motion to remove number 16. Need a second on that.
Second.
Is there any discussion on removing this item from the public?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
The question I have is, what were the deadlines? I'm not familiar with this, but I wanted to participate in it.
Speak on the mic so
So,
the patients
what
can
were
hear
the
you.
deadlines? Can you give us? Who seconded it?
I don't know that there was an exact deadline, however, we would have to sign a contract, it has to go through the city has to validate the contract, and then, seeing that it's on January 26th, we'd have to obtain 50 volunteers, we'd have to have funds to feed them. Did you have a question?
So let me clarify, we've been dealing with this a lot this week in the Valley office. The department did create a contract that covers.
Yeah, it's like an MOU.
It's like an MOU that covers NENCs that want to participate. As to any deadlines, I'm not sure, but if you did want to enter into this, and if the board wants to approve it, you could do it, just understand that you need to get on it right away with the county to see if you can still participate the way that they are expecting NCs to participate.
Who provides the funding for that?
We would have to provide the funding to feed the volunteers.
I have a question for you. Here it doesn't talk about funding, it says oversee the count, which is verified from the
Okay, right. So, if you read the paperwork that was given to all of you guys about this, it had a number of things that were required if you opt in. One of them was funding and feeding the volunteers, obtaining 50 volunteers, getting a coordinator, a point person, assigning them, getting them trained, and having them coordinate these 50 volunteers to do this count that takes place on the night of that date, January 26th.
It is a pretty involved process.
It's a big process.
And so, like I said, if you do have someone that wants to start running it with starting tomorrow, it's up to you guys. Otherwise, it is you are working with a county agency and they have their own process. They do look to neighborhood councils who you are already on the ground. They look to you for your knowledge of the community, so they don't send someone in completely, unaware of what's going on in the community here. So they do look to you for leadership, but there's all other details that were put into this MOU, and funding is involved. I mean, if you're going to recruit volunteers, at the very least, you would need to provide some kind of refreshment, maybe copies of documents or what have you. So there will be funding involved, and you will need to determine that with their guidance.
So, the motion was to actually remove it. So is there any comment on removing the motion? Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote. All in favor of removing this motion from the agenda?
Who seconded it? Oh.
Mr. Chávez moved it.
Opposed? Abstaining? 902? Did you announce Yoli and Angela? Go ahead.
I'd like to make an announcement that Angelica Duarte arrived at 7:15 and Yoli Garcia arrived at 7:28, giving us a total of 11 board members.
Thank you, Anthony.
Information.
Mm-hmm.
A minute ago, board member Rubin said that he wanted to have a reconsideration of his motion of waiting or postponing for next month. I don't see here, we used to have it announced right here, how we get a reconsideration, it's no longer here.
It's in the bylaws.
It used to be in every agenda, how you reconsidered, what happened to it? Because if he has a right to have it reconsidered, I wanted to clarify.
It's in the bylaws.
Can you tell me where, please?
In the bylaws?
Yes.
The bylaws right in front of you.
I know, but it may make it easier for you to remember. If you don't, that's fine.
Well, I haven't done it in a long time, but if it's in here, I'll find it for you. It's got to be done in writing. It's right here on page 13, section 4, article 8.
I believe he has a right to have it reconsidered at this meeting.
I'm sorry, page 17, top.
17 top now?
Yeah.
All right, I would take time.
He didn't actually ask for it to be reconsidered.
Well, he was asking me that he would like to bring it up again. That's reconsideration.
Did you make the motion to postpone it?
Yeah, to the next meeting. We're talking about Yoli being a part of the commission of the record part.
He wanted to bring that discussion back again, and you said, we said, in kind of in a unison.
Actually, okay, so.
I just want to protect his right.
Right, okay.
If he has to. But
Well,
I saw nowhere in here, we used to be able to tell the public how reconsideration was done. Why did that get taken out? I'm not sure. And why was it put over here instead?
It belongs in the bylaws. In your agenda, it just takes up a lot of space, and I hardly ever see it on actual agendas. It should be in your bylaws, which every single one of you should have a copy with you guys.
Yeah, so it does state that.
Almost every city agency that I go to, there's a reconsideration thing.
Right, okay. Yeah,
Why are we exempt?
Is it required by law to be on the agenda? Okay, then.
So it's in your bylaws.
Not a point.
What issue was that? What number was it?
It's page 17. So you are able you can have it reconsidered during this meeting if you read paragraph B.
Same meeting, right?
Yes.
He can.
Yeah.
He had the right to make the motion to reconsider his postponement. And that's all I'm saying. I want
The
to.
moving board member may make the motion for reconsideration orally during the same meeting where the action that it was subject occurred. So he can.
It's correct, yeah, I mean, anyone on the prevailing side can make a motion.
Right.
So we're at the same meeting, the longest you can wait is until the next meeting.
It needs to be seconded. If he needs to make a motion to reconsider, what he said is, Yoli's here, can we go back to that item? I didn't take that as a reconsideration. I wasn't even aware or remembering that you made that motion, or I guess it's anybody who voted in favor of that motion could have it reconsidered. So you didn't say that, and I believe we were right in the middle of another motion being on the table when you said that, which also can't take place.
Yeah, all I wanted to do is clarification, because if he has a right, he should be given that right.
You have the right, Ruben. If you want it to be reconsidered, you will make a motion to reconsider it while there's no other motion on the table. Okay?
I make that motion, I move that motion.
Well, right now we have,
When can he make his motion to reconsider?
There's a motion on the table this time.
no, there's no motion on the
No,
table.
not right now. That's why I'm asking about it now.
He can make it in between items.
Just did.
Okay, we need a second.
I second it.
What's your motion? I need the wording for Anthony. You need to get this.
It shut off?
No, turn on right now. You got it, there you go. No, it is, it just probably did like a screensaver.
It's an answer.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we need the wording of your motion, please.
Okay, my motion was to reconsider, this is on number 17. Right?
No.
13, yes, go back to 13.
It was item 13 that we postponed.
Yeah, I have made the motion to reconsider this to the next board meeting.
No, you made a motion
No.
to postpone it, Ruben.
Okay,
Now you're-
what you wanted,
Right?
Now, do you want to reconsider it at this point because Yoli's here and you want to?
That is correct. I made
That's what I
that.
heard.
so you want to say, I want to make a motion to reconsider the
Yes.
postponement of item 13.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Thank you. Did you get that? And that was seconded by you, Mr. Pacheco, right?
Yes, but I think, okay, Ruben, you gotta listen to her real closely. Because she has to repeat your motion the way you want it.
He's not giving it.
And so she's asking you, again, I'm trying to help him without getting myself in trouble either. I don't want to get in trouble either.
No, you're fine, I mean,
I think I can assist him in making the motion if he's having difficulty.
That's fine. So you're fine now, so what you would vote on now is simply if you want to bring it back, so you need to vote on that
Yeah,
first.
that's what I
and
had said
afterwards we
earlier.
can have the discussion.
Exactly what the gentleman is saying.
Okay. Mr. Pacheco is just concerned that you're not wording the motion the way you want it, that I'm wording it for you, but.
No, you have to word it for him. The chair always repeats the motion so that everybody understands what we're voting for. That's parliamentary procedure.
But I changed the wording on his motion because he's not stating it
But
correctly.
that's what she's asking me exactly to do that so that she can repeat it.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
So I got it. Okay. I make the motion to bring back
Reconsider.
the item on 13 to discuss
The
it now.
postponing
Right.
item.
Say what?
Reconsider of the postponing of item 13.
Yeah, to reconsider the postponing of item 13. Thank you for helping me.
Great, thank you.
It's the verbiage that gets me, you know.
We got it. We have a motion made by Ruben and seconded by Mr. Hugo Pacheco to reconsider the postponement of item number 13. Is there any more discussion on this?
Public.
I'm sorry, I meant public discussion. Any board discussion? Hugo?
Yeah, the question, I support what Ruben's trying to do because we have Yoli here. And the question was whether or not there was a possible conflict of interest because she may be sitting on the TAP board.
Right, so
That was
let's,
the only thing that was holding up that motion.
yes,
And
so,
she's here to answer it.
okay, so what we're discussing is the postponement. Tom? Any thoughts on on the reconsideration? Angela? I mean, I would prefer to move on because we have a lot of business to tend to, but Anthony?
You make it quick then.
Ruben?
I think since Yoli's here, maybe she might
We're just on the
enlighten us.
Okay, on the postponement only, no, we weren't, okay. Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote to reconsider. I'm sorry, I need the word.
Right here, reconsider of the
On the
postponing.
motion to reconsider the postponement of item number 13. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? Abstain? 1, 2, 2 abstentions.
You opposed, Bernie?
Yes. 812, motion passes.
Yay.
So now we go back to 13. Okay. Item 13 was the discussion and possible action that LA 32NC send a letter to Recreation and Parks Commissioners and Council Member Jose Huizar requesting an update of the El Sereno Recreation Center proposed repairs/improvements and request an itemized list of the improvements and inquire about community input/participation in regards to the design and improvements. I'm going to ask the chair, Yoli, to say something regarding this motion, and also if you can speak in regards to your involvement on the Park Advisory Board, if you are.
Okay, so I apologize for my late arrival and Happy New Year to everybody. As far as the motion goes, I'm not sure if one of our other committee members discussed elaborating on the motion. Okay, so I don't need to do that then. So as far as my involvement with PAB, I have never been a PAB member for the El Sereno Park. I attend the meetings regularly, but I'm not a PAB member, and there hasn't been a PAB meeting for over a year.
Great. Yeah, I didn't even think there was a committee in place there right now.
She just represents herself and no one else.
I know.
I
She
know as a
goes to every
stakeholder.
committee
I
meeting.
said as a stakeholder.
Great. Thank you, Yoli. So, this motion has already been discussed. Do we need to, before we postponed it, we discussed it, and then the question of conflict came up. Do we need to rediscuss it? Okay. We're going to go ahead and take a vote on the motion.
You made it clear as a bell.
Again, the motion, oh, we do need the motion moved again, right?
I move it.
You move the motion, is there a second? Okay, seconded by Angela, moved by Ruben. Again, we've already discussed it, we're not going to discuss it again. We're going to go ahead and take a vote on this. Are you ready? Okay, we're not having a discussion. We've already discussed it. Angela?
So we're not going to vote for the letter, right?
Yes, we're going to vote for the letter on the motion that LA 32 send a letter to Rec and Parks Commissioners and Councilmember Huizar requesting an update of the El Sereno Rec Center proposed repairs/improvements and request an itemized list of the improvements and inquire about community input and participation in regards to the design and improvements. All in favor of this motion, raise your hand. All opposed? Any abstentions? Tom's abstaining.
Oh, great, thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Hugo, for
You're welcome.
getting that off the agenda.
Why wait another month?
You're right, thank you. It's going to be a resolution, the same as number 12, and Anthony and I will be working on it. It's that template. Okay, now we're going back to item number 17. Okay, you know,
Excuse me.
Yes.
We voted for a letter. What's the difference between a letter and a resolution?
it's going to be a resolution, same thing.
But can I ask, what's the difference between a letter and a resolution?
I guess, you know, the letters would be like a letter that we bring forward as a draft, everybody review it. It's not a template, it's more of a letter. The resolution is a template. It shows the board took action, it shows the motion, and it requests a response.
Do you have any
No,
doubt?
what I'm saying is, it's very specific, so it's in a letter.
Yeah, it does, I know, it says a letter, but
Why? For what?
but according to some board members, this can be handled through a resolution.
What board member?
The guy to my right?
But we don't, I mean, we
He who knows all.
voted for a letter.
I agree. We discussed this at the executive committee meeting.
Wants to strike the word letter.
No, we're not striking anything, we've already voted on
Your
it.
motion says letter, I mean, not, our motion says our motion, we voted for a letter.
What if we
And I'm-
just now?
What's that?
What's the resolution with the letter?
No, we're done.
Which agenda item?
17.
12 and 13.
Before we move on to item 17, we have 17, we have 18, and we have 19, which are all gonna be a little, take a bit of time. I'm wondering if somebody wants to move up any items. In particular, we have a stakeholder here who's been sitting here for almost 2 hours, who hasn't, land use item on the agenda for number 21.
I never got an answer to what's the difference between a letter and a resolution.
Can we discuss that after the meeting? I mean, we're moving on to the next item on the agenda, so we can clarify that after. The board already voted on the motion, so let's make sure that the board follows through on the motion, but right now.
Yeah, we already voted on it. I'm willing to take the chance if it's something that we have to rehear and it's brought, but it's already been decided
Listen
on.
here, Melvin, right?
No, but we've already discussed it and it's already been complete.
So what, as a board member, and making sure that what we do here is proper. If I say it says a letter here, where do I get that clarified?
Okay, now as a chair, I'm also saying that we've already heard the item. I understand your concern. If it was done improperly, I'm sure it will need to be brought back. For the sake of business, we need to move on. We'll get you those answers, either Melvin or myself, and if it needs to be brought back, I'm willing to take that chance, yes.
There's no answer.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to move 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 to be heard next.
Oh, you know what? All of those?
I second the motion.
No, come on, you guys.
No?
I want to get to, we need to get to the MPGs and we need to get to.
He already
He
seconded.
seconded.
He seconded.
I withdraw my second.
I seconded.
There you go. Thank you.
It was item 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, because the elections are important.
So is the petition against me.
That's what I said, 21.
Okay, we have a motion to move items 21 through 25 to be heard next. Made by Michelle, seconded by Hugo. No, it was made, seconded
By Pacheco.
by, yeah,
He withdrew his.
Ruben Rodriguez. Is there any board comment on this? I mean, public comment?
Which number are we on right now?
We would have been moving to 17.
Where are we on right now?
We would have been on 17, but we're gonna move up 21 through 25.
Thank you.
Actually, public comment, do I
Please.
need to Hi, sorry, Jim Markevich. I wasn't at all prepared to make a comment, but considering the way you all conduct Robert's Rules of Order, I'm horrified that you're actually moving past the Associated Students' request for $3,000, which actually has a deadline of February 1st. So if you don't talk about it tonight, those kids aren't going to get their money for their education. And I want to make that point, because I know the way this board conducts itself, if you move up those agenda items, you're not going to get to these important items. And that's all I want to say.
That happened with the Christmas people.
Thank you.
Didn't get their money.
Is there any other public comment?
Same thing.
Board comment, Hugo. Tom?
Yes. We have a tradition here of postponing things until after they've already needed to be spent. I would highly recommend not to pull them up, but that we need to have the executive committee and the board discipline themselves for timely execution of huge laundry lists of things to do. Focus, priority, and such is required. We have this issue 3 months behind. Hey, I'm going to vote against everything in the NPG. Why? Because 2 of them are past due. And if we're going to operate that way, hey, and continue it, what are we doing here rather than in the executive committee where the agenda is set so that it cannot be done in 3 hours? That's all.
Angela?
My only concern is, I'm part of the elections committee, elections are coming up. It's really important, and we've been advised by Dunn to focus on the elections. It's very important to address these issues so that the committee can move forward and start focusing on elections. So I'd say we move these items up and then listen to the other items on the agenda. Thank you.
I find it a little bit of a conflict that people, and you know, Mr. Pacheco and you, Angela, that You're really adamantly against moving items up on the agenda unless,
That's not true.
okay.
You're speaking out of context.
Well, I'm sorry, I feel like we,
That's not true. Stick to the.
I don't think we should move the items up. I would like, 21 is a fast item. That was my only recommendation. I'm not looking to move all those items up.
I'm the election chair, and if we don't move these items up, we can't spend the money to promote. And we need to promote, we need to start buying banners, flyers, everything that you will see on the line item and how we're gonna spend the money. We need your approval so we know how to spend the money, so we can spend it. If not, we have to wait a month, and LA 32 cannot promote any elections until next month, February, and that's not gonna be a good outreach for May 21st, even though you guys are saying, well, that's a long way for May 21st. No, we're running short on time. We should have been doing this since last year, November, December, not now, January, and then waiting till probably next month, February. So that's why I asked you guys, my colleagues, to please listen to these motions.
Is there any other board comment? Let's keep them short so that we can move on. Is there any other board comment on moving these items up?
Yeah, I have a comment. I suggest that we move to 21 as directed by the chair, which is our president, and consider 22 through 25 a consent calendar item to be voted on. That's my suggestion.
Anybody else? Ruben?
Yes, Michelle happens to be 100% correct. That money is desperately needed. The other NCs have already started moving the process for the elections, and we're really behind time, and actually we need more money than what we got. So it's vital to deal with it. And I feel very badly for the lady that was just up here, she was correct. If we don't deal with this now, they won't have the money because it's a time thing. And this happened also with a board. Remember last month, I asked to move something up so that people would get their money, and it was turned down. And so the event happened, those people didn't have the money for their event. So we're a catch-22 situation here.
Thank you, Ruben.
Yes. I understand the urgency of elections coming up. NPG applications, though, that was an item that was on the agenda last month also, and they've been waiting. I don't know what applicants are here tonight, but I think it's fair that we address item 18, NPG applications at today's meeting, just because it's been on the agenda and it hasn't been addressed.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a vote on moving up items 21 through 25. All in favor of moving 21 through 25 to be heard next, raise your hand. Opposed? Five, 6-0, motion doesn't pass.
I would like to make another motion to move item 22, 23, and 24 up.
I second it.
Thank you.
We're not going to discuss this again.
We do have to discuss it.
Yep, it's been seconded.
Is there any public comment on this?
22 to 24. Professionalism and decorum is what you all are responsible for, and this second motion is exactly what I'm talking about. You have to use your time wisely. You could do both things if you stop going around and around about Robert's Rules of Order.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board?
I have a comment.
I'm on Hugo, thank you. Hugo?
The only comment I have is that I think that the chair has to be.
We're talking about moving the items up.
Yes, and the chair has to be neutral. That's my comment.
Okay, Tom?
Same as before.
Angela?
I have a comment because you kind of slandered my name by pointing out Hugo and I not moving items up on the agenda. So just to clarify, I recommend everyone to watch the videos. I have not on moving the items on the agenda, but you said my name, so be professional about it.
Okay, I take it back,
My comment is, thank you. My comment is the election is very important. I understand the MPGs and I apologize that you're here trying to push this up. But the election is important. If we don't have people to come out and vote, you don't get hurt. So I really suggest that we just move the elections items up, let's hear those, and then we can look on the other items. But based on the time sensitive, we probably will still be able to get to the NPGs, but the elections have been pushed by Dunn that it needs to be addressed as soon as possible. We're already behind schedule, so please consider moving these items up.
Thank you. No comment, Anthony?
Much like the previous item, and like also the stakeholders mentioned, with good efficient conducting of the business, we could hear all items. I say that we do not move these items out of order, understanding the importance of the elections, but at the same time, the MPGs, there's information on there that could show they could be over within about 3 to 5 minutes. I believe we could hear all items in appropriate order. Thank you.
Michelle?
No comment.
Cynthia?
No, just my suggestion stands exactly what.
Thank you. Troy?
I agree with the young man over here. Keep everything in order.
I think we should keep everything in order and not move anything up.
Ruben?
As I said, it's like catch-22. You're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. Everybody needs the money. But the elections is really something that, since you're not involved, you don't understand the mechanics of it, and that's why you're shooting it down. But we desperately need the money.
Yoli? Okay, let's take a vote. The motion is to move up items 22 through 24 to be heard next. Yes. You got it? Was it 24?
24 to 25 is what it was.
22.
24, 25.
It was, she said 22 through 24.
Yeah, but that was voted down. So then we move to 22 to 24. By Angela, seconded by who?
Ruben.
Thank you.
All in favor of moving items 22 through 24 up? Raise your hand. Opposed? Abstain? Somebody's not voting. No, I'm opposing.
She said no.
So do we recount? Is it 5-6-0?
5-6, it's gonna be the same count.
Does it pass or does it-
5-6-0, motion does not pass. We're going back to item 17. This is a discussion and possible action regarding board member absence. Director Victor Ayala has been advised of his dates of absences, which exceeds the allowable number per LA 32 NC Bylaws Article 5, Section 7. He's been provided with the opportunity to provide any information for the board to consider prior to removal. Victor? I'd like to just give you maybe, can you do this in 3 minutes?
Sure.
The opportunity to provide any evidence to the board which would support your claim for a reason why you shouldn't be removed.
Sure. This was brought up a couple of months ago. There is no way that I missed 2 consecutive board meetings. The last time we were here, I was told I was removed from the board. A month later, I was told I wasn't removed from the board. The following month, I was told that I'm still on the board until we get the findings from the city attorney's office. She was supposed to provide that information to us of what findings or what recommendations that the Department of Labor and Empowerment was given to us as far as the process. That was never provided. I feel that that there was confusion whether special meetings and regular general board meetings were considered absence or not. But most of you board members know me. I've been here for a couple of years now, maybe 5-6 years. And I am a productive member of this community, and I would like to continue that. So without getting into the specifics of why I think I'm getting targeted to be removed, I would just ask the board to please allow me to continue to serve on this board till the end of my term so that I can serve my region in a productive manner.
Okay, can I go ahead and respond? This is a discussion. Victor was notified of his removal. There was an audit that was done for the 2 years, and it revealed that Victor missed 7 meetings.
If that was the case, I wouldn't be here.
So he was notified of the removal, and then he did send a letter to the department stating that the chair was retaliating against him, and that was the reason for removal, not absences. Because of that, the city attorney, in which you know, that's why we're still here. His recommendation was let the board decide. Bring it forward to the board and let it decide. There was no, you're still a member, you're not. It's like, we're gonna let the board decide because you're claiming that I retaliated against you. I would absolutely never retaliate against anybody. It's not in my nature, or I'm not in the business of doing so. I was notified that you missed these absences. There were 2 consecutive and there were 7 total. I believe your claim was that I excused your absences, which is the evidence that we asked you to bring forward. And do you have anything to submit in that regard?
Yes, your emails indicating to us saying that it's the humane thing to do to excuse board members who have to work or have to take care of their parents is sufficient evidence enough to say that you did and excuse me.
So do you have the email with you?
No, you sent an email. You sent the emails
I
out
know,
to
but
us.
this was your opportunity to provide this evidence to the board.
There was no indication from Dunn or from you saying that I had a certain amount of time to give the evidence. Never.
It's on the agenda, Victor.
Well, this is the reason why you're being picked on right now, because you have no clue.
I don't
what
feel
you're
picked on
doing.
one bit. Ruben?
I make a motion to have Victor Ayala continue his tenure here until his term ends. That's my motion.
I second it.
Thank you. Seconded by, so we have a motion by Ruben to allow Victor Ayala to continue his tenure here as a board member for the remainder of his term, and we have it seconded by Troy. Or was it you first? Okay. Was it you? Troy.
Well, I heard both of them.
Seconded by Troy. Is there any public comment on this? Is there any board comment on this? Hugo.
Okay, I know there's statements about following Robert's Rules of Order, following, bylaws, but bylaws are very specific that if you're, I'm sick, and I'm here, and I told people, I'm sick, but I'm gonna be here, because I don't wanna violate the bylaw. And again, I said before, this is not our bylaw, this is something that was given to us by Dunn, although many will not admit to it because they don't want to be thought of as puppets. But the idea is, if I remember right, with our other board member, Augie, he was removed. That was the process. And it does not go through the board. It's automatically to be done by the chair. But then, as a board, we re-elected Augie based on the fact that he told us all the ramifications, his mother's death or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So I would say that in order to be fair, we have to let Victor know he's off the board and then allow him the opportunity, same as Augie, to come back based on the fact that he was confused. I don't know by whom, I'm not going to accuse, but I'm pretty sure I know, but confused as to what the process was because whoever was advising him didn't know what they were doing either.
There was no process.
The process is in the bylaws.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay, Tom?
Bylaws require a 2/3 majority to change them and has a procedure for changing them. That has not been followed. The bylaw, for me, is very specific and very clear. Therefore, I cannot support changing the bylaws with the quorum that we have at this time.
Thank you. Angela?
Okay, so I understand June Ayala's situation because we had several emails that came from you. I think I actually sent you an email to excuse me several times as well, but I made it late to the meetings. So with all I think there was a confusion, and maybe with all due respect, June, perhaps maybe you're very busy, and because you were able to get these excuses, you maybe couldn't make it to the meetings. Based on the circumstances and that we're so close to elections and we need the board members and we're involved in committees and we really want to make this functional. We're human, we're volunteers, we're really trying to make it here. We're trying to do the best that we can. I ask the board to please consider keeping June on the board to fulfill his duties, and let's move on from this and just hopefully it doesn't happen again.
I agree that Victor is an active member, and I appreciate the work that he does. He does chair committees, and he's definitely an active community member. I didn't excuse you 7 times, and as far as the bylaws go, nobody should even be asking for an excuse. We're all adults, and you've all read the bylaws. If you know that there's no excuses, then why would you send an email asking for an excuse? If somebody sends an email saying, please excuse my absence, okay, thank you. I mean, that's to me is like, sorry, I'm not going to be there, but there's no excused absences. You know that they're going to be held against you. The one that I did excuse, specifically wrote to you, which I provided you in writing, was for a special meeting, which does not count against you, and that's exactly what I said in the email. If this doesn't count against you, it's an excused absence. Special meetings don't count. That's all I have to say. I think you're a great member. I would love you to come back, and I'm sure you'd be back on the board, the same as I'm hoping Capricia will as well. She was removed. Everybody else went without claims, because these are the bylaws, and we're all adults, and we should all be accountable for our own actions.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to vote that June actually does stay on the board, understanding the circumstances. I realize the bylaws indicate that if you miss 2 consecutive meetings or 3 in any 12-month period, you're automatically removed. I've been attending these meetings for over 11 years, and I don't think I've ever missed 1 or 2 meetings in a year. Once I went on vacation, so I missed like 1 meeting. But we do need active members. Elections are nearby. We need people to participate. And much like what the other director mentioned, we do have another director who was off the board. We just got him on last month, and now he's absent again today. We need committed directors. Thank you.
The bylaws are all over the table. If you guys can all refer to page 9, the community, section 7, it gives you the absence of what we're talking about. And this is where I have a concern, because we have an email from the president when Nick Carrillo and Cecilia, who are Cal State students, the moment they hit their mark, the 2 consecutive absence, she quickly emailed them and told them, as of now your seat is vacant according to section 7, blah, blah, blah. Why didn't she do that with June? That's all I gotta say. Why didn't June get that email when he missed those? The email's right here. She sent it to the entire board, not just me myself. So that was my question. The Cal State students got quickly removed when they missed 2. They were informed according to the bylaws. Why didn't June get removed? And why is June still here? That was the question.
Cynthia? Cynthia? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going over that myself. The fact remains is that I don't think we all have a tally of how many people have been absent. Nobody has really ran a tally from what I can understand. The bylaws are very specific that to the 3 absences within a year or 2 consecutive absences. I feel that we should just follow the process that we just, I'd not say approved last month, but that we all voted and agreed to, so that June has an opportunity to have a fair removal and a fair return. So that's my position.
Well, as a new addition to this board, I really feel that things like this do not need to be discussed around stakeholders. We should stick to the business that pertains to them and not things that pertain to us. So if I know the bylaws are different for each NC, maybe that should change. Maybe I could talk to Melvin about that. I'm not quite sure how it's done. Like I said, I'm a new addition. But things like this, the community, the stakeholders, they don't need to hear this. There's more important things that they need to hear that pertains to them and our community. I know we help the community, we do a lot of things for them. However, this is equivalent to me as airing dirty laundry. That's it. Thank you.
We're speaking on the motion. Thank you.
I happen to agree with every person that has said their statement. Everyone is 100% correct. The doc, and Ogo, Angela, Cynthia, we're all correct. Some of that even applies to me because I have 2 absentees and supposedly I had a 3rd one, but that was a special meeting. So evidently that 3rd one doesn't count, right? Anyway, that's not the issue here right now. I have to urge the board to consider the caliber of June, the importance that it is, and I want to ask the chair of the elections committee to set me straight before I finish my statement. Madam Chair for the elections, will you please inform this board by what date we can no longer vote and put a member in the board? before the elections.
Your microphone is very loud. It's 60 days before the election. It doesn't specify calendar or business, so we did the math, and either way, February would qualify for either whether it be calendar or business days.
No,
They
I
can
mean,
still come on in February.
if there's a vacancy, you cannot fill it anymore by a certain date.
February's meeting would be the last date.
Oh, okay. Well, so, okay, thank you for clarifying that. So I urge all of you to vote to reinstate June because he is worth every bit of his salt.
Thank you. Yoli.
I think bylaws, the absenteeism item in bylaws needs to be revisited. June has been, he's a dedicated board member. My vote would be for him to stay. However, I've heard the other comments, if Augie was removed, then I kind of feel we need to be uniform as a board in the process. And if we've been removing, and then hopefully June could be here next month, or today, I think they're filling the vacancies, and just have him fill one of those vacancies.
Thank you. Okay.
It can be filled right away.
We're going to go ahead and take a vote now. The motion was, Anthony, can you reread it?
It was Ruben's motion. It's right here. To allow him to remove.
The motion was made by Ruben Chavez, seconded by Troy Carvajal. The motion was to allow Victor June Ayala to remain on the LA 32 NC board for the rest of his term. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Abstained? 713, motion passes.
Hey.
Moving on.
Thank you, board members.
Can I make a quick comment on this, real quick? Because your bylaws are set, and like someone said, they can be changed, and you should revisit them when the window opens again for bylaws amendments after the elections. In this particular case, so I'm understanding you got advice from the city attorney's office for the board to determine how you want to proceed.
Right, from the city attorneys and Leila, who stated that all of the bylaws say that it's an automatic removal. They say there's really no such thing. There could be like legal issues that arise from automatic removals. There's human error. There's there could have been a mistake done in the audit, and Victor was claiming that. He was claiming.
Yeah, and I don't really like that when the bylaws say automatic, because it's never automatic, and that you need to provide the evidence that this person has met that threshold, and that evidence is your board-approved minutes. So if the minutes show that someone has been absent 2 consecutive meetings, or 3 meetings in a 12-month period, that's when it becomes automatic, because that's the evidence. Your minutes are the evidence. And so I believe that is a process that has been followed for the other board members. So we need to stick to that process to make it fair and even for everyone else. I understand there was a motion here to do something different, and because I will go along that is because you have a specific advice from the city attorney for the board to make a determination here. However, your bylaws are pretty specific that if someone has met a threshold and the evidence is the minutes, and the minutes show that, then that should be it. So I hope that this doesn't become a precedent, that if someone misses that many meetings, someone is going to make a motion that you make an exemption, because your bylaws are pretty clear. So if you do not like that, you can revisit the bylaws and make a change. That you can, instead of saying automatic, you can say that the board may remove the person by motion. And that is what normally used to be before. At some point, the word automatic was added, and a few NCs followed, and I guess you're one of them, but I just wanted to make a comment that I hope that this doesn't become a precedent.
Okay, I'd like to clarify a point. He's absolutely right, and these other people are right, but what trumps all of that is the attorney. The attorney left it in our lap. Even though they are correct, we override him, because the attorney left it in your lap, and you left it on ours.
Okay, we're not discussing this. I really don't believe that city attorney trumps bylaws. We're moving on. I don't know what you're really implicating by that, Melvin. I don't know if you're saying that that's an illegal action we're taking, or if it's... You just don't want it to set precedent. I absolutely don't want it
Keep that in
either.
mind. That's why it's important to keep minutes
We have the minutes, I mean, an audit was done, those were the
You
findings.
consulted with the department of the city attorney's office, you've gotten advice, and so follow that advice, is my advice.
Okay.
But your minutes to me, when I was reading that item in preparation for this issue on the agenda, I thought, okay, the minutes are pretty clear.
Okay.
If I ask to see the minutes and the minutes show that, then that's okay, but it's your determination at the end. Normally, that's how we, we follow what the board wants to do here.
Point of clarification on that. I want to clarify something with Melvin. Melvin, when we read the bylaws and in prior boards, and just recently with this particular board, we had several people who missed those 3 consecutive meetings, or 2 consecutive meetings, and they were automatically removed. The problem was with June is that he missed those meetings, and because it was excused or not excused, whatever the situation was. I know there's no excuse absences. That was a discrepancy that we had on this issue, is that there's a dispute about the board president excusing them and overriding the bylaws, and that's why this came to this point.
I don't have that authority, and he's provided no evidence on that.
Point of clarification, and I want to say why I abstained. Because we were told, and we were promised at an executive committee, that you were going to bring written evidence that is what the attorney advised you to do. I don't want to break laws, and until I see that evidence that you said you were going to provide from the city attorney of what Melvin is saying, that what we're doing here is legal, I'm not going to vote for something like this.
I have a question. You're absolutely right, Ewan. Thank you for reminding me. You were supposed to provide us that email. We're basing it, trusting the information that you spoke to the city attorney, and this is the language that they told you. So can you please send the board that email?
Okay, as I advised you before, it was all via phone. I have requested that they send it to me. The city attorney, is Dinia back from family leave?
Because I have some concerns also regarding that, because the bylaws are absolute Bible, basically. And by us doing that, our bylaws is absolute. It does say about the absences.
And normally, and I will support your president on this, normally when we see confusion among the board on interpreting the bylaws, the city attorney does not like to step in unless they need to really, to step in and dictate what their interpretation is. They will throw it back to the board. What does the board want to do? So that's what you were discussing here. But in this issue, but the thing that has got my attention is that you have just had previous board members that were removed under the same provision.
Nobody argued that except June.
So, right, so that's why I'm just hoping that this doesn't become a precedent, and that you stick to, make sure you're taking clear minutes, that you approve your minutes on a timely basis, and if this comes up again, it will be easy to show the evidence.
But Melvin, can the former board members who were removed, let's just say Nicholas and the other board members who were automatically removed, can they come back and dispute this and say, well, you allowed one board member?
No, not at this point anymore.
I still don't have anything from you and Rainey, but I'm just saying, can it be disputed a lot later since we basically are overriding our bylaws?
Angela, Victor claimed retaliation.
No, hold on, I'm asking Melvin.
No.
That's not the question. It's not retaliation. It's whether or not you provided that evidence from the city attorney to this board that what we're doing today is legal. I would approve everything if you had that letter, which you said you were going to provide to us at an executive board meeting.
And everybody is welcome to contact the city attorney on their own and ask them, or contact Layla. I would absolutely not put anything on the agenda or come up with this on my own. But discussion is over.
That we can't.
Why
You know
not?
that every time that we try to go to the city attorney,
Oh, but you think
we
it's-
have a legal liaison, it says we don't have a legal liaison, we have to go through you. You're the only person that they talk to.
That's not true.
That is absolutely
You
correct.
contact Darren all the time.
That's not true.
Oh, I had no idea that they would speak to you guys.
You're assuming
Sorry.
again, Marlene.
Give
No,
us the
what
phone number
happened
of the legal attorney.
And
I've done it
actually,
before.
They know the city
I
attorney's
don't
not.
want to argue with her.
hold on.
That's right.
No,
We're
I
gonna move
just
on.
want to get clarification
No.
on this. I do want to see the email,
Okay.
because I did email the city attorney requesting that clarification I was just going back to my emails, and I never did receive a response back.
From the city attorney?
From the city attorney.
As neither did I. So why don't we, will an email from Layla suffice? Because I also had the discussion with her.
Yes.
Okay.
If you can send that.
Let's move on.
Thank you.
We're moving on to MPG applications at this point. This is a review, discussion, and possible action regarding the 3 below listed MPG applications that were received by LA 32NC prior to November 30th, 2015. Do you guys all have these attachments?
We don't have the application and the itemized funding.
We have the application in our.
You had the applications last month. If you didn't bring them back with you?
No, one of the questions that came up last month is that they were made up itemized list invoices, not actual invoices from vendors. So I would like to ask if that information was provided, actual invoices from vendors, not a made-up invoice.
All the information that's required to apply for an MPG was submitted, and so we're hearing them.
Correct. I understand that, but like I said, Dunn requires invoices from companies, not made-up invoices saying $200 for this, $300 for that, $400 for this. Actual real invoices.
Not for MPG.
They don't require that for
invoices
MPG.
So how do we know what vendors, what they're charging?
We got that as a.
We get an itemized list. We're to review and evaluate the merits of the organization and, I'm sorry?
Just made-up invoices? Is that what you're saying?
Victor, all the people who submitted applications followed the process and completed the paperwork appropriately, so we have to hear them. That's the bottom line. Okay, so
Are we listening to each one of these separately?
there's no, we're not discussing it right now.
We're gonna discuss it if we're gonna vote on it.
But there's no motion on the table, so there's no discussion right now.
Point of clarification, are all these 3 items being heard at one time with one vote? Or the individual votes? Sure. Is it individual votes or are we doing all 3 at once?
It depends on the motion.
Well, how
If
come
somebody
they're
makes a motion.
different- They're totally different companies. I mean, I may agree with one, I may not agree with
You're not
one.
remembering how it was done
There's
last
a
time.
merit process we did for all other MPGs, so we need to do the same merit process that we did last time.
And then a motion is made.
Yes.
But you're reviewing retro stuff here. This shouldn't be included. We did not review retros. Melvin, am I correct? Do we authorize retrospective stuff that's been done?
We're discussing something we don't have to discuss.
MPGs, I suggest you review them one by one.
That's what we do.
One by one.
The way we did it last time is we evaluated each of them one by one. At the end of the evaluation period, they were each assigned a percentage as far as, what we saw as a result of the evaluation. From that, a motion was made. The motion could have been to support one of them, the motion could have been to support 2 of them at a lower rate, whatever the motion was made. But there's no motion right now, so I'm not really understanding what your question is.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion.
We're not making a motion yet, we gotta do the.
Clarification, were you here last time when we did the MPG process?
She wasn't, she came late.
Okay, because there's a procedure, so maybe if you could start off with letting the procedure know for stakeholders and all board members?
Is that the application?
Yeah, these are the applications. You guys didn't bring your applications from last time?
I don't have anything in December.
I'm trying to understand though, why is it on the agenda something that's retro? Why not just remove it now, waste time having to review it?
What's retro?
The Jubilee event.
Okay, well, obviously, we're not gonna hear that one. We won't hear that one, that's passed.
Okay, so.
But we have ASI here, and although Bicentennial's not here, we do have to hear them, they submitted the paperwork.
We're discussing something that hasn't been seconded.
I know, that's why last time we stopped discussing it.
Mr. Chair,
I'd like to give a little bit of advice or suggestion perhaps. There are 3 items to be heard under item number 18. If any director wishes to move or hear one of them, then it would move to an evaluation so that we can make an appropriate, position, to take a firm position. If no one wants to move or hear any of the 3 items, that will cut down time. We have other items of the agenda to hear, little less than half an hour to speak, and it could assist us in just getting through the remainder of the agenda. So of the 3, if I was the chair, I would ask, does anybody want to hear any of the 3? If they want to be heard, then we would go through the evaluation process. If no one wants to hear any of the 3, great, so be it, then we move to item 19. It's the easiest and quickest way to do it.
That violates our process.
Motion to move I'd like to motion to move ASI to be evaluated
I'll
right
second
now.
that.
Okay. Melvin, just a question.
I have a question in regards to that. Are they gonna have an opportunity to speak to that motion?
Of course.
Okay.
Well, what do you mean? They're gonna have an opportunity to.
Because they haven't had a chance to do it before, so we're gonna have to hear it now.
Yeah, right. I get, I hear it. But that's violating our process. Yes, we do, that we voted on.
We do. I would just like for the process to start.
No, there's a process that we all know.
If they're here, let's hear them and let's listen to their proposal.
Let's bring ASI forward right now. My only question to Melvin is, if the applications were submitted by the deadline, can we say we're only gonna hear one of them and not take a look at another one because the people aren't here?
What deadlines are your deadlines for what?
To submit the application.
Are you talking about the ones that for the events or projects that already happened last month?
No. There would be two right now that are still valid.
Okay.
This young man right here
Okay.
and the Bicentennial Committee, who's not here.
But then we're here at the last meeting.
But, so this is your own established deadline,
Yes,
but the events are yet to happen?
yes.
Okay, that should be fine.
So we can
Okay.
hear one of
The issue with funding is that if, for example, I see something here that was,
Yeah,
the
that's
event was
done.
supposed to be December 12th,
Mhm.
it will be after the fact, and funding will not review the,
Okay, got it. So, you guys, I'm just gonna try and refresh your memory and make, for any of the new board members. Lisa?
Yeah, it's a long process to evaluate. Takes 20 minutes.
Teresa, you know, we can hear from the school or the ASI, and this is the project.
Yeah. Okay, Marcus Rodriguez, right?
That's correct.
From ASI. You guys all have the application for ASI. It's also projected on the screen for our stakeholders. We're going to give you 5 minutes to briefly describe your proposal, which we also have in writing. We'll go through the board and see if anybody has. We'll provide the board, each board member, an opportunity to ask one question, and then we'll determine whether or not we're going to go forward with the evaluation of the project. Are we all aware of what we're looking for in an MPG? Should I go over that briefly?
That would be nice.
What is the project?
What is the what? Okay, Marcus, go ahead and start. I'm going to start your 5 minutes, and then I'll inform the board.
Sounds fantastic. So ASI is student government, but we're a little bit different here at Cal State Los Angeles because we're also a nonprofit organization. So what we've done is expand our reach into the community. So you've seen sort of students starting to get interested in the NC here at Lake 32, but also in the community as well. So what we have now is whether someone's been appointed or elected to a position of like the standard student government, shared governance, being on committees on campus, we're really trying to focus efforts now into the community. So someone that doesn't serve in a position on our board can still participate in the leadership development curriculum. So that of course deals with everything with fiduciary responsibilities of student funds or how to deal with project funds, to philanthropy and how to work in the community, to conflict management, everything from working styles to communication and dialogue, how to dissent, argumentation, etc., etc. So key things that you would need as a community activist. So those skills are primarily developed with our student leadership that's elected and appointed. We start looking for more dynamic projects like this trip, a full immersion project, to go work together, a group of 25 that we'd be taking outside of their regular atmosphere of the university to, in this case, the Dominican Republic. Now, it's the first time we've done this with a group of students. We're working with a reputable company that has done this thousands of times with Southern California universities and colleges. Now, you may ask, why take them off of campus? Well, studies have shown that if we take students outside of their regular environment and then immerse them into something completely different, taking them out of that environment also allows them to focus on what the task is at hand. Right now we're talking about local community development. In this case, it would be eco-sustainability. We know that's something that's really big for us based on just the drought, and of course what we're seeing here with weather and El Nino. So these students look at projects like this, are provided a budget, context, reflection, assessment, camaraderie, team building. All of that is put into a leadership curriculum that they work on off-site. Now they bring that back to Cal State Los Angeles. At that point, the class continues. The next phase is the one that directly affects this community. We pick a nonprofit organization. We'll be looking at community partners and even looking at El Sereno Community Arts, for example, might be one of the nonprofits that this class is going chooses to work with, and of course with the NCs, and saying, this is a community project that we're now taking our skills that we've developed into the actual community to work on a project. You know, I was sitting down there and just thinking about the Kite Fest. There shouldn't be any reason that we cannot partner. Everything from beautification to being a key component of what the education committee here for the NC looks like. So we want to keep developing that partnership. Even taking the petition, for example, for the bus shelters, taking that to this class of students, this cohort, and saying, hey, those bus shelters, and doing that survey, getting that information out, that's going to be a priority for us as community activists in El Sereno. So that mindset is what we're developing here with this first class, this first cohort. So when you look at that $3,000, what that does is offset costs per student. Now the total cost of this is over $60,000. Now what we did is add $12,000 right off the bat to offset about $500 per student cost. And then what we do is format fundraisers. So we're going around not only to LA 32, but we're having nights at Shakey's. We're talking to students about how to do Kickstarter campaigns. So again, that in itself is an educational process of how to raise money to be a community activist for an initiative or project or event, etc. So we're being very proactive on the front end and engaging, of course, with LA 32 as part of that game plan. We'd love to be representatives not only of Cal State Los Angeles, but of course of LA 32, and then taking that really and offering a tract in the community. So what you're seeing from sort of like the high school key clubs is that you see all these feeder high schools, relationships being developed with Cal State Los Angeles right away, and saying Cal State Los Angeles, ASI, this nonprofit that sits on this university, is also working with the NCs. And I think a lot of that too is you're going to see a more high caliber student, someone that has a heart for philanthropy, someone that has a heart for community organizing, starting to fill some of these seats. And more specifically, some of these seats out here as well. Those volunteers that we'll be looking at, those running for office, those spreading the words on the election, those are going to be the key components of what is sustainability here as far as community participation. So that's really what it's all about, and I know that you have a copy of this, which really breaks down into the cognitive development, the reflection and meaning making, experiential learning, the physical act of civic engagement. These are the key components. So it's a well thought out curriculum, and I can always answer questions at any time. I'm working there 40 hours a week, but I definitely want to open up for clarification on this specific project and this funding request.
Thank you, and we will allow the board, thank you, and you were exactly at 5 minutes, and 2 seconds over. If you guys take a look at page 1 of your proposal evaluation form, it kind of outlines what we'll be looking for. It's supposed to be a project that primarily serves the residents of our neighborhood council, so all 90032. We want to look at the merits of the organization. How long have they been in operation? I mean, are they 2 months or are they 10 years? There's obviously a difference in the merit there. We also want to look at the entire budget of what their entire budget is. If it's a $20,000 project and they're asking us for $2,000, what happens if they don't get the remaining $18,000? What are they going to do with our $2,000? Because once it's theirs, it's theirs. Like Victor was saying, we don't have any requirements that they give back to us proof of what they spent the money on. So these are things we want to look at. And Mama, please chime in if I'm missing anything. I believe the main purpose is that it's going to primarily serve the residents and benefit the community of 90032. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take questions. And I'm going to start with Hugo. If you have any questions for Mr. Rodriguez.
I'll wait for the others to come.
Do we go through that?
We're not evaluating right now, but he gave a 5-minute presentation. If you guys have any questions regarding his presentation or his application, then you can go ahead and ask.
I have a question. Was there any breakdown of costs that you can provide the board, or have you already provided that to the board?
What we can do is the breakdown of costs per person, and what that is all inclusive. So once a student starts paying into, and it's a little over $2,300, that's going to take care of their transportation, their meals, the project tools that they're going to have there, the counseling advisement that goes pre-trip, during the trip, during that reflection process, and of course after the trip as well. So it's all inclusive for this price. Now what we do have is, that we provided was a comprehensive email that includes videos and also links to the actual running page. And so that's gone, of course, to the to the treasurer, and then to the president. And what we can do is just forward that on to the rest of the group, even as quickly as like right now, I can just forward it on. And so you can actually get on the page and see where the students are on the fundraising, et cetera, and the actual per student breakdown, what that looks like.
Now, that would have been nice to receive before the meeting. But I have another question for you. So the Power LA, who oversees the neighborhood councils, they've always said, what is the return on our investment? So let's just say we decide to fund the $3,000 to, how is that going to be a return on our investment when, and no offense, and we encourage you to come, but this is the first time I've ever seen both of you come to our meetings. And so
Please
I just
don't
want
say
to find
both
out,
of
oh,
us.
sorry, second time.
Please don't say both of us. I'm not involved in this
Oh,
in
it's
any
okay.
way.
So
Please don't
what
say
I
both
want
of
to
us.
say is, so it's the first time that we see people coming to our meetings. So we want to see a lot more people coming from Cal State. We want to see more participation coming from the school. And I'm just curious to see how would that help the board on our return?
Okay, well, we have done some projects in coordination of just letting people know about events that are happening in the community. Of course, Budget Day, we were also there at Budget Day to speak to what's going on as far as University Hills, et cetera. And when you talk about really investing the $3,000, what you're looking at really investment in a curriculum. So what you look at is like the direct return right away within this annual year, the project alone that we would be producing with a nonprofit or with the NC here by the end of this year, and I can say it's by the end of the spring quarter before we move into summer, that will be a completed project as far as what they need to fulfill the certificate for this program. So you'll see a project, even that is supplemental cost, et cetera, and that's coming from us at AS, advertising that, et cetera. So developing a specific project, yes, you see a return there. But what you're also seeing is a return on building these skills. And of course, that's like in any other education, you're putting a price on per student, per head, how you affect. Now, based on what, and that's why it gets a little lengthy there on the actual application, is you want to look and really evaluate what the curriculum is. Because that's what you're investing in. Are we going to be hitting these key points and developing these things within these students? So, for example, a student that walks away from this experience and is not learning about conflict management or how to create communication and dialogue around a hot button issue, I mean, I think that we can all say that we arrive because of fiduciary responsibility, because of representation to stakeholders, into very contentious conversations sometimes. And so when you're actually allowing students to have these conversations based on community development and projects within that, then I see that, $3,000 to invest in 25 students, which is $40 per student. I think that you can bet that you will get a $40 per student return on an activist, a possible activist from one side of the spectrum to the other. And at the very least, you'll get that $40 return on somebody that's going to be, as part of this program, coming back directly into us and working on a project.
Associated students, that's the student body, right? That's what we're talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. Associated students, that's the student body, right?
It is.
And that's when you pay your fees. Now, I graduated from Cal State Elementary. I was the president of the Chicano Business Student Association, chairman of Feria de la Raza, which is the largest scholarship program there. I was also in the Higher Educational Center program, the EPIC program. I mean, I can go on and on and on. But I'm a little bit confused, to be honest with you. All those things I did without having to leave this community and to help this community. So one of the things that really gets to me is when I was doing the training on the finances, is that our role is to get more citizen participation. That's what we're supposed to get. That's our role. And to do that so that it meets local needs. Now, my thing is, the Dominican Republic doesn't seem to be a local need. And if I could accomplish all those things, for instance, when I did Feria de la Raza, I got $1,400 from the associate students, and I got $10,000 from the corporation. So I said to myself, wait a minute, there's so many things that can be done here other than sending people to the Dominican Republic to be able to teach them leadership. I'm also a graduate of the Mexican-American MALDEF. advocacy program. Again, that was completely, totally free for everybody to learn in this community how to advocate, how to have fiduciary, all those nice terms that you use. So I'm having a real difficult time saying, what, 60 grand? There's a lot of things we can, well, that's bigger than our budget, I think.
Do you have a question for Mr. Pacheco?
Well, wait, hold on.
Well, we're running short on time, so please get to the question.
Yeah. Is this, would you say that in, I mean, and I know you have a job, but if you were in our position, would you say this is an absolute must for this community?
I would say yes. Betting on and creating a relationship with the youth that are in leadership positions, that are emerging leaders, that have self-identified themselves as ready to have this experience and exposure. I want to thank you, first of all, for your service as a student at Cal State Los Angeles. Sounds like you have a great portfolio built there, and something that, again, I'd love to expose our students to, bring you in as a speaker, saying that now I'm involved in the NC. I mean, when you talk about why you have to go off campus, the Dominican Republic, next year it could be Cuba, the following year it could be something in Asia. But we know that, for example, students to get outside of the community that they grew up in now gain a new perspective that leads to a more active tolerance and a more broader-based value system because they are taken out of their box and given a new perspective. So that goes with meaning making, that goes with experiential learning. That means that the things that they've learned are more tangible because of this experience, this immersion into a different culture. It opens their eyes. They have what are called aha moments that they are more eager to take back and expose their community to than a student that hasn't left their community, that is infiltrated with the status quo. Things are this way. And so when you're really creating a change agent, sometimes you want to change that person's whole environment so that they can truly gain a new perspective as to the environment that they want to change. And so I think by being exposed to other cultures, other means of doing things, other community activists that are working with far less money than that they would have here in the United States, I think what it does is patently create an individual that has a heart for that, and then eventually has a heart for philanthropy. And of course, it's not AS going and saying, hey, we're trying to put this on the back of an NC, that we know that is giving great money to other organizations, but saying we love to partner with the NC. We're going to corporations as well and saying we'd love for you to give to AS as well. Now you're thinking, well, ASI gives money, et cetera, et cetera. Now one thing I want to clarify is ASI has a set budget by another group. We do a trailer system, so it's run by a board of directors. They set the budget for the next board of directors. So these students come in, their budget's already set. So a lot of decisions that they try to make with new initiatives and events, we have to get really creative about how to fund those because funds are already allocated to EPIC, to EOP, to Annabine Children's Center. So we're funding all of these things, but most importantly, we want to be representatives with and for LA 32. And so I think that's where you really see us tethered in and why. I mean, whether it's DR or like I said, whether it's somewhere else, what we're doing here right now is focusing on the investment in the students who are stakeholders here as students of Cal State Los Angeles.
So the people that would be going, that we would be sponsoring, would be from this community?
Yeah,
They live here?
Well, we
90032?
we'll check on where they live, but what we can say is that it's a mixture of residents, but first and foremost, they also are stakeholders here. So if they're residents in Cal State Los Angeles, they're going to be residents here.
Okay, I'm sorry. We need to move on, you guys. Anthony has a question.
It's not so much a question.
We need questions that can be answered.
Maybe you can help me out then. Serving as an executive officer, and I've been on this board participating for well over a decade, I have the experience needed to make executive decisions. I have two questions. Or one is logical, meaning it makes sense in my mind, sounds like a good idea, I could understand the process and the scope of the funding project. Second one is practical. Should we do this? Are we benefiting? Do we have the money? Do we have the time? And is our board in the position to be funding this? So far you've answered logical. Help me with practical. Why should we do this?
Well, I think there's a short term and long term. Now again, the short term is we're going to come back, put those skill sets into action by saying, now that all these things that we've learned, let's choose a nonprofit to partner with, or the NC itself, or a combination of the two, and work on a project. Now that could be something that's more a traditional project, like the Kite Fest, or it could be something that's a new project that can go everything from beautification to working with the elections, etc. But we want to have that group come together and say, these are possible projects, and to have representation from LA 32 to say, here's where we really think that we could partner along with this nonprofit of ASI. So that's short term. That's going to happen within this academic year, which ends in June. Now again, the long-term investment is actually providing that experience that we hope is catalyst for those students to become community organizers, to be civic participants, to be democratically present as far as being part of the democratic process, civic engagement, etc. So you got your short-term and your goals that are going to be met, and you have your long-term goals that's the longer investment.
Thank you. Cynthia.
In regards to these students that you're going to provide this environment change and realization as to how they can come back as community members, what year are they in their schooling? Is one person going that's a junior that will only be here for 1 year and allow their opportunity and time to bring back an investment? Or are they all freshmen? Can you give us a scope as to how many students you have that are beginning their education and some of those that are already on their way out the door?
All right, that's a great question. A lot of these are emerging leaders. So when we developed this curriculum, one of the primary partners that we have at the university is social work. Social work knows how to do these projects. They're doing it in the later years with their students. Now, a lot of our students that we're getting from our feeder schools, including first-generation students, are non-traditional students at Cal State Los Angeles. They have not typically gone even outside of the state of California. So what they're doing right now with us in social work is that you've got to be in a program. You've got to be invested in social work before they even think of taking you out of the States. And so what we really did is sit down and partner not only with that area, but also with the college that just came out, which is public education. That's the one downtown that Cal State LA is building out there. And saying this one is going to be the primary trip. And the campus is getting really excited about the possibility of this recurring every year because it's to test the waters. It's for that student that hasn't had exposure, the funds to do so, or the means, or the support system with counseling, advisement, EF tours who we're working with to really put together this package for them. So it's that one student, it's the preliminary, it's the first time they have this opportunity. So that's really where we're at. Freshmen, sophomores, upperclassmen, they're already involved in their program. But these are students that think they want to go maybe into social work, maybe into nursing, maybe into politics. But now they have a program within this, their first couple of years. And I don't even have to go to an experience like this, what that means for retention, what that means for graduation, because students that are involved and are affected at this level when they're freshmen and sophomores continue on at a higher rate because involvement means graduation. So again, that is an investment not only in this community specific, but in the global village economy.
Thank you. Is there another question, Ruben?
Yes, I'm also an Eagle. And I also work with Hugo at Cal State LA, and all those things he said are 100% correct and true. What I'm concerned is, like you said, we're going to check their address. That doesn't mean a thing, because their address, their legal address could be within the state, but not even the city limits. So all these students that you're going to expose to this is very good. Everything you said is excellent, but it's not going to really impact the kids from El Sereno that live here. The ones you're talking about that haven't been exposed is true, but they live elsewhere. And the exposure that you want to give them is terrific, but that's not going to help our kids here, which is the point that Mr. Pacheco was making. And so and since we're very short of money for quite a few things, we've now had to take money from other programs that we had approved. And we took the money from them and put it in another.
Do you have a question for him?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm leading to that. I have to qualify my question. So I really don't think you know, that's part of the question, that you know really how many of those students, if we were to provide you with that money, how many of those students are really from El Sereno? Not because they're living in El Sereno, called University Hills, but it's part of the umbrella of El Sereno. Well, yeah, they're residents, they're constituents because they're students here, But when they graduate, or don't graduate, when they leave, we'll never see them again, and El Sereno did not benefit from that.
Okay, thank you, Ruben.
You know, I'm sorry to jump in here, guys, but I'm kind of concerned about the way that where this is headed. I understand, you know, this is, you're asking directly about how would the youth directly from El Sereno will benefit?
The kids that
That's a
actually
good
live
question.
here.
That's a good question, but keep in mind, I think he answered it previously, that if Cal State LA is within your boundaries, all the staff and students are stakeholders, so I just want to...
It's temporary stakeholders.
Okay.
They're stakeholders right now, so
Yeah.
I just don't want you to create different classes of community members, because that's what it sounds like to me when I'm
But there is, your reality in real life and real time, there is those classes.
This is it sounds like this is an eligible applicant, because they are within your boundaries, so then look at it that way, but your question is, you know, it's a valid question, just be mindful of that they're all stakeholders. Okay?
Okay.
So, I'll be really brief. You
30
know that
seconds.
high school graduates from El Sereno, what university do they go to more than any other university here? Cal State Los Angeles. So what you're really doing, this goes back to the long-term investment. You want to create a program like this that's sustainable, and then we have a sustainable relationship annually with the NC, so that family members can be encouraged, that we use this again as a catalyst at the high school level to the university, and saying this is an experience that we can help you have right away. Now we also know too, that students coming from, non-traditional students coming from these neighborhoods are the most high-risk students.
Have you gone to Wilson to recruit students there?
Always.
And what's been your percentage of actually having students from Wilson High School be members of Cal State LA?
Ruben, you've asked a question, and actually you didn't ask a question. I think we need to cut it at this time. We have the information that we need. If you guys will take a look at the proposal evaluation form, we're not going to go through the form and evaluate because we don't have any groups to compare it to, and typically we use that to give sort of a rating system to the entities that are applying. So at this point, we've heard the proposal, we see the application, and if anybody is prepared to make a motion on this MPG, then we'll entertain the motion.
So just for clarification, Chair, so we make a motion and then we still have to go into discussion again and public comment?
We do, I mean, hopefully, because we've already discussed it, the discussion would be, I mean, I don't know what else would be discussed, but, and then there may not be a motion made at all.
Might not be a second either.
Right. So we've heard the proposal. Cynthia?
I'd like to make a motion to entertain this application for an MPG for this fiscal year for the ASI Student Incorporated organization. We don't have exactly what they're asking us for because we've already removed all of
They're asking for 3,000.
I know, we don't have that, but it would have to be something that we can.
Well, if you're making a motion, we need to know the amount that you're proposing.
Mr. Treasurer, we got any money?
How much is left in the category?
There's 2,000 in the MPG right now. There's also a motion to remove it. Not evaluating because we have no other groups to compare it to.
Motion here, so I would say not to exceed 1,500.
Okay, so we have a motion to support this grant application and in the amount of $1,500, and it's seconded by Victor.
But not to exceed, that means it could be between
Up to.
600 or
Right.
up to 1,500, is that understood?
Well, I mean, if we say up to 1,500, what is he gonna say? Well, just give me 600. Of course, they're gonna take all
But
1,500.
it all depends on how our budget.
Well, then you have to give a specific amount.
That has to be specific for this particular motion.
$1,500. Better than nothing.
You can do it on a percentage based on what they ask and the other people ask, and you break it down by percentage on whatever the budget is. You don't have to do a number figure. You can say,
She's making a motion.
they asked for a third of the budget, and get a third, you know what I mean? You don't have to be specific for a number.
I know for most of our motions, when we do a discussion and it's somebody that has already come to us prior to for money, we just say, okay, sure, no problem, 3,000, you got it, okay? And somehow we make it work. And right now, this motion has been on the table for the last 3 months, and this is the very first time he's ever gotten a chance to speak at the microphone and discuss it. So I would say, $1,000.
Okay, so you're making a motion to support this project in the amount of $1,000.
That is correct.
Thank you. Are you seconding that? Thank you. Is there board comment on this? I'm sorry, I keep calling the public board, and I'm looking at them. Is there public comment on this? Board, I would ask that you only comment if it's necessary. We've already had a lengthy discussion and a question-answer period. Is there any comment? Short comment?
No, no.
Concern? Question?
I'm gone.
Okay.
I mean, I have a right as a board member to.
I know, I'm just asking you as the chair,
Leave alone.
that we can, it's 9 o'clock, and,
I know.
so go ahead, Hugo.
Here's my concern, and I'm looking at the budgets. My thing is looking at the budgets. The budget says that we have, what, $2,000 left?
Yes.
So if we, mind you, I've been almost willing to give them $1,000, but then we have only $1,000 left to get the bicentennial. Is that what we want to do? All right, I'll take it.
Tom? Angela?
Yeah, just one question. I have a concern in regards to the amount. Is $1,000 even going to make a significant impact for their project or what they're trying to do? And if we do the $1,000, obviously they're not going to be able to give it back to us if they're unable to utilize it. So my concern would be is we really need to analyze our budget first and see how much we have to be able to give to the MPGs and be able to observe it. So I'd say we can reconsider it.
Anthony? Michelle?
Let me show you guys the budget. I'm trying to bring up the budget.
There's $2,000 right now in the budget. Again, there's also a motion to remove that $2,000 and give it to the election committee. Cynthia?
It's just back to what I said. The elections committee was formed after the fact that these applications were put in. And now there's an urgency that the elections are pushing. But what about this gentleman and all the other people that came 5 months ago and put these applications through? It's not fair that the elections committee now is pushing precedence on what we need. If we have to, we're going to have to figure out another way to bring all of that for the elections committee. I think that these applications have been in far too long. The process has been ignored. We haven't looked at them correctly. And now we're barely getting an application for something that is due in February. And it was not, and I'm going to say this again, it was not fair to these gentlemen and women that have come every month for the last 5 months. They've been coming. Thank you. Victor?
I think this is a great outreach, and I appreciate you coming down. I really, your presentation was great. I'm in full support of whatever amount that they can get.
Thank you. Troy?
No comment.
Ruben?
Again, we're facing, just like last month, we had to take money from here, other group, to give it to this other group, whatever it is. So, in the elections, even though Cynthia is correct, the elections committee was formed after these MPGs, but nevertheless, the elections committee does need all that money to function. As much as that gentleman made such a beautiful presentation, and he's correct and all that, I would have supported it. I'm not in support of this because of the elections. I feel needs the money.
Yoli?
I'm in support of giving ASI, whether it's 1,000 or 1,500 or if it's the 2,000 that we have in the MPG category. This budget that we have, we just approved last month. Okay, so for us to reallocate again to this month, I don't understand. I mean, I don't even know where that motion to reallocate came from because it didn't come from the Budget and Finance Committee. So the 2,000 that's there for the MPG, I don't have a problem in leaving it in the MPGs. And if the motion right now is to give $1,000 to ASI, I'm in support of it.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yeah?
I'd like to make an amend. I'd like to amend that LE 32 NC funds ASI up to 1,000 for the MPG with the following requirements. That they provide 100 volunteers for the Kite Fest on April 24th and 50 volunteers for the election on May 21st, 2016.
Is that legal? Can they do that? I don't think that we can put there.
You can ask, you can make a request, but you can't really make it a requirement. That's not a part of the MPG process. You can definitely ask. I mean, and, you know, if they can.
That's what I was told, according to funding, they provided what they require, but if we want details, we can put that on the motions or amendments. So that's my amendment.
And I'll second that. But now that commits, will they be able to?
Public discussion first.
So now we have an amendment on the table. I know, but we're in the middle of the motion.
Motion to extend.
We have to wait till we're done with this motion. Is there a public comment on amending this? Do you have any comment on that?
Sure.
Feasibility? I mean, can you, 30 seconds.
Sure. I mean, I would say that the 25 individuals that are going to be directly affected by this investment, I could speak to their involvement. You know,
Wait, the requirement was that you provide 100 volunteers at one event and 50 at the other.
and for that guarantee, I cannot make a guarantee, but I can say every effort would be made to meet those numbers.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Is there board comment on the amendment? Let's take a vote. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Michelle, for the mindset in requesting something like this. It makes sense, asking what is our benefit and the returns for it. Oddly enough, hopefully we just have to ask and see if the group can comply with this. But we'll see. And oddly enough, I think the amendment is a little stringent, but we'll turns out and see if they can comply.
Hugo?
Yeah, I think there might be a constitutional problem here. I think slavery went out a long time ago. Oh, is this thing on?
It's on.
Hello, on or not?
Just go ahead, it's on.
I'll talk louder. I think there might be a constitutional problem here. Slavery went out a long time ago. You can't require people to do something like that. On the other hand, though, I think it would be nice if these 25 people did return, and maybe such as the Kite Festival, and give us some of their education they received for the $1,000 or whatever we give them. Thank you.
Angela?
I just have a concern. What if they're unable to meet those requirements?
That's my question. So what's the ramifications if they don't meet it? What can we do?
So, I recall Marcus said that they're willing to, when Anthony said, you know, how are they gonna give back? He did say he would help out at these events. So I just wanna hold it to him in writing. I'm pretty sure Marcus can sit with your committee, Arts and Culture, and provide those volunteers like we did last year. We provided 150 volunteers, and they all had shirts, purple shirts. So I'm pretty sure if you work with them, the both of you guys can get, not necessarily students, but maybe staff members, if you both work together and get those 100 volunteers for the Kite Fest, because it's easy. You just start asking now, like we did.
I understand. We're not talking about me recruiting members, so you're putting this restriction on him.
You would work with him, you know, because you're the Kite Fest.
You're putting the restriction on him. What are the ramifications?
So that you would come and ask the chair for Arts and Culture and say, you know what, I'm here, let me help, let's work together, and she'll help you, the both of you guys together. And for election, you can come to me, and I'm pretty sure I can help you whip up 25 and you the other 25 for election. I mean, I'm willing to work with you on the election because that's our event for election committee. It's done, it could be done. You just have to start asking as of now. It could be done. I've done it, it's been done in the past, and it's possible.
Oh, I'm sorry. My question was, if, for example, can we give them, or make an amendment to give them like a date, so we can have names of people and just assure that we're going to have at least 100 people or 80 people show up to the Kite Festival. So maybe amend that motion where we can specify a specific date before the funds are released for them to provide those volunteers.
Okay. 100 people is a lot of people. That's a little
We had
excessive.
150 last year at the Kite Fest.
Volunteers?
We had 150. I'll give you the list. People signed up and got shirts.
Troy?
Motion to adjourn.
Troy?
I'm willing to work with you, part of the Arts and Culture Committee myself.
You're adjusting the chair, sorry. You gotta adjust the chair.
I'm sorry, I'm New Yorkers. I am willing to assist with this young man in seeking those volunteers, whether it's 150, whether it's 100, or as many as you can possibly get. So.
And I'll help with the election. I'll help you with the election.
Okay.
Also,
You guys, we need to
Isn't-
vote on whether or not we're amending the motion. So we're discussing on the amendment.
there's a political science major or department, isn't there? You can go to them in terms of the elections. I mean, that's terrific. It doesn't have to be your specific 25. I mean, what's 30,000 students in that school?
Yoli.
In regards to the amendments, the amendment said $1,000. I think if we're gonna be asking for that many volunteers, I think we should increase the amount to at least $1,500. And then also, I don't think we should word it that that he has to guarantee a certain number of volunteers. I think if he's really honest about having a partnership with the NC, I think we can request that in return he will support our events and by recruiting volunteers, not necessarily give a number, and hopefully he will try to recruit as many volunteers as possible, because the Kite Festival does take many volunteers. If he could provide 100, that would be great if he could try to recruit. But we have to be realistic in what we're asking and what we're willing to give.
Thank you. I mean, okay, we're not saying you can't, but you're putting a requirement on somebody.
I have a comment.
Okay, is this?
Yes, it's related to the actual amendment. Right. My thing is that this organization came to ask us for money, and all of a sudden now we're kind of bulldozing him into something he has to guarantee us. I think that with the 25 that he has, and maybe with Michelle's help and my help and anybody else's help that's in that region, is why I explained to you before that the South region has been misrepresented all these years that I've been a representative for the South region. We don't have a lot of participation. I'd be willing to go out and help as well, Madam Chair. My thing is not to require him to have 100 volunteers, but those 25 volunteers that are going to receive this money in whatever form or fashion, that they do commit as a part of their reaching out and coming back to the community at that point. So that would be my recommendation, that it's not 100 per se, given a number, but that they would come back and possibly they can recruit 2 of their own volunteers as the 25, then we can reach maybe 70 or so.
Thank you. So we need to take a vote on the amendment. We're voting to amend the motion to read, can you reread it? That LA 32, yes, please.
That LA 32 fund ASI up to 1,000 for the MPG with the following requirements: provide 100 volunteers for the Kite Fest April 24th, 2016, and 50 volunteers for the election on May 21st, 2016.
All in favor?
Motion by Michelle, second by Angela.
All in favor of this motion, raise your hand.
It's a funding, so we have to.
It's not a funding yet.
You're right, it's an amendment.
All in favor of this motion, raise your hand.
The amendment of the motion.
All in favor to amend this motion? 1. Opposed? 3. Abstained? Abstain or opposed? 6-3-1. Motion passes. Let's go ahead and put the motion on the table now, which is to fund ASI in the amount of $1,000 with requirement that they supply 100 volunteers to the Kite Fest and 50 volunteers to the Elections Committee. Public comment on this? Board comment? We're on the main motion now.
Yes, I like Angela's statement in terms of releasing the money when you release it, so maybe he'll do his homework.
You can't do that, he needs to buy next time.
Motion's on the table already. Okay.
We're already out of time.
All right, let's go ahead and take a roll call vote. Oh,
I don't want to vote for the $1,000,
Let's get ready to vote.
but I have a problem on the second part, because I don't want to violate something that's law. But then again, I guess, according to Dunn, if it's a violation of law, it can't be.
Look, the MPG program doesn't set those requirements. That is something that you're establishing as to how you're going to confirm that that is done, and how, that is up to you, considering also liability for how those volunteers will be handled.
and in all honesty, if he doesn't provide them, what are we gonna do? Arrest him? Go after him? Stand outside his home and picket? No, that's why I'm a little concerned with it.
Program to, like you said, something reasonable. This is really, you can't really, you're not in a position to require that.
There's no way to enforce it, is what we're saying. Angela?
It's already, just for the sake of time, I'm not going to make any comments.
Are we ready to vote on this? Let's take a vote on the motion to support $1,000 to ASI with a requirement that they supply 100 volunteers to the Kite Fest and 50 volunteers to the election committee for elections. And roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Hugo Pacheco.
Abstain.
Tom Williams. Cynthia Sandoval.
Can you come back to me?
Troy Carberhall.
Yes.
Anthony Manzano.
No.
Victor Ayala.
Yes.
Yoli Garcia.
Abstain.
Michelle Corsantes, yes. Ruben Chavez.
Yes.
Angela Duarte.
No.
Marlene Fonseca.
Yes.
Cynthia Sandoval.
No.
Five yes, 3 no's, 2 abstain.
Motion passes.
I guess we'll see 100 people at the Kite Festival.
Wait, was it 5 yes?
That's what I got, 5 yes.
Abstentions
It
are
doesn't
not
pass at least 6 no.
Is not the majority.
6 is the majority.
So you have
Is it bad or is it not bad?
No.
Guys.
We amended it.
How many said no?
Hey guys, you gotta listen over here.
So you have 10 board members present?
Yes. How many persons said yes?
So, and 2 have abstained? So now you're looking for a majority of the 8 remaining who are voting?
Yes. So that's
So of
the
those 8, what was
There's
the
10 of
count?
us here.
Yeah, but 2 have abstained.
Oh.
Yeah, so ours doesn't count.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Eight
No, we're
voted
going
yes.
to-
So of those 8 who voted yes or no, how many yeses?
How many yeses? Raise your
This is
hand.
your, sorry,
No,
Anthony, your bylaws are, I'm looking at your bylaws. So
It
how many
has-
yeses?
Right, they're not counting.
It has been, this has been brought up by Anthony before, and the city attorney rules.
The abstentions were not counted.
Right, so they're not
They're still
counted.
part of the quorum.
Right, you have a quorum, so I'm not
Yes.
questioning whether you have a
So
quorum.
that was 5, 3, 2.
So 5, so out of the 8 who voted, 5 voted yes,
Yes.
3 no, and 2
Yes.
abstentions, so it passes.
Okay, Anthony has had this argument before. For right now, we're gonna say, it seems like if the motion passes, we're gonna get clarification from the city attorney's office and notify you tomorrow.
Can you change my abstention to yes for the purpose of giving a majority? I would change my abstention to yes, but I know that 5 is majority.
It's not a majority of 10.
No, it's majority of those who voted, and abstentions do not count as voting. So majority of 8 is 5.
You don't take them away from the table.
Okay, that's not her question. She's changing her vote. Is that okay? She's changing to yes. So now that the count is,
You don't want to change your vote now?
We already tabulated.
No, it's gonna
I
pass.
just asked Melvin if she can change her
I
vote.
don't want to make law. I would say or I don't want to end up having to have a hearing.
Yoli, you have to do a
No,
reconsideration.
guys, you're still in the same motion, that's fine, I'm sorry. You haven't moved on, you're still in the same item.
We haven't ruled whether it passes or not.
Do a recount again.
Troy, yes. June, yes. Michelle, yes. Ruben, yes. Marlene, yes. No Cynthia, no Anthony, no Angela. Abstain Hugo, abstain Yoli. That's it right there.
But Yoli's
And this
asking,
video, if anyone wants to view it, it'll be uploaded.
but Yoli is asking to change her vote.
Then it needs to be reconsidered.
Jolie is, guys, no, there's no need for a reconsideration. Jolie is asking that.
Anthony, can we let him speak, please?
But no, it was already said that it passes. If she moves, she changes it, now we don't do a full reconsideration.
That's fine,
It's
yeah.
already set by the chair that it passes.
But we haven't ruled that. We haven't
So it's like
said
that,
that.
it's an issue, right?
I haven't said.
But now she does a full consideration, we have to do that.
We'll find out.
And we read it. And 6 is passing.
Still gotta run it by the attorney.
After the meeting, somebody stay to help tear this thing down, because the people gotta go home. The employees, I mean.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call for a vote.
Do you want me to hold the meeting?
adjourn and a second to adjourn, Madam President. Let's get for a vote. You guys can argue that. Ask for a vote to adjourn. Third is May 2nd.
I'm sorry, though, we had a member from the public who wanted to speak for a minute.
I do, I actually have a 1-minute statement that's relevant to what just happened.
Well, we've already adjourned, but if you guys can give her the respect and listen to what she has to say. Go ahead.
So I just want to say something very quickly to the board. My name is Jen Markevich. I'm a resident and a voter in this community. When I learned of this organization, I have religiously been in attendance. Religiously. I've been slandered by one member of the board tonight who said I didn't know what I was talking about when it came to the importance of Cal State LA versus the election committee. I said, oh, she doesn't understand what she's saying. That was said to me. You can go back and look if you want to. A second member has alluded to the fact that I'm only here several times, that I'm somehow affiliated and I'm only here because I'm engaged. I'm not. I'm a resident and a voter. And you all, I've heard over multiple months, are looking for more engagement in the community. And what I've experienced in my very brief time is that you alienate and have classist comments about certain people are temporary or don't count as much. And I strongly encourage you, both personally and collectively, if you want engagement from the community, not to dismiss community members and not to be disrespectful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just did.
She made a motion to adjourn tonight, so
Please adjourn. I'm really sorry, Celine. You're going to be first on the next agenda. I'm really sorry that you are really second.
Can we do a special meeting for the elections? For the elections? Just the, that I just want to. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And that's why I made the comments that I made. Is, you guys have an opportunity. And, I wasn't really interested in an accident when I finally realized, I'm like, oh, I'm sitting next to you inside. But I'm not here to advocate in the presumption somehow that, oh, I'm only here for a brief period of time and my comments don't count. Not the way to engage community members.
and what I said is, neighbor having trouble events weekends coming up. We know students are parking up there. Very valid points to their attention. It's just they have the college, the old church. So walking there.
I'm sorry, which one are you referring to?
Well, as far as to that, there's so we just went up there and the sergeant and he said, well,
Well, everybody's got to work together. Nobody's perfect. And with the comment that I made, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, hey, this is what I'm saying happen.
You got it.
And now we have all these things. We can't expand like into the streets. I mean, we'll be around. That's all over. I think we can because of the fact. But I think there's
And I mean, again, I'm really but I wasn't going to get up and make you your favorite. My only comment was about being concerned. You know, don't have to use application
I know there's a lot of stuff. I'm so happy to hear, you know, hopefully we'll get back. First one should be